Hi everyone, welcome back to the monthly Astro forecast for the month of March. Thank you guys all so much for tuning in with me today. Let me know where you are watching this from and how you guys are doing with this Mercury retrograde in the sign of Pisces. It's a pretty weird one, isn't it? I've been feeling it quite strongly, and I'm really wondering how you guys are doing with the energy. So, hi, Six Fairy Lights and Ashley and Wolf Girl says, what a great time to be alive. Yes, there is a lot of unpredictable energy in the sky, and that is, of course, with the Mars square Uranus that we just saw happening. So, yeah, have you noticed that in your own life? Because I sure have. I've noticed a lot of people were kind of on the edge of their seat or walking on eggshells. And when I was going to the store, people were fighting like back in the line. And I was looking behind me like, wow, this Mars square Uranus, it is definitely a lot of unstable energy. And it's been shaking up a lot of things that weren't stable before so that we can actually break free. But a lot of people tended to rather tap into the lower frequencies of that and the lower manifestation, unfortunately. But did you experience some kind of breakthrough in your life? Because that is definitely a very big possibility here as well. So, hi from Texas and from Spain. And hey, Stain, my Belgian friend, is in the chat as well. And Wolf Girl, thank you so much. Central Florida. Wow, I would love to visit that. So let me know what you're doing on this beautiful Sunday. And of course, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe here at the Jean-Claude Beyond Mystic channel on YouTube. And of course, also, oh, wait, is there something wrong with my screen share? Yes, there's something wrong with my screen share. It just like it popped off. This never happened before in all of the time that I'm doing things on YouTube. So I am going to re-screen share and let us just say that this is the Mercury retrograde in Pisces, and a lot of weird things are definitely happening with technology. Have you guys also noticed that? So, of course, here we have the Beyond Mystic Rumble channel as well. And if you want, you can also book in a session with me on the Beyond Mystic consultation page. And of course, you can use Beyond Mystic as a coupon code to save 10% off. So, let's start the week ahead. And oh my God, you guys, we are now. What is happening with the screen share? There is something not working with the screen share. That is so weird. So yeah, it is Mercury retrograde, you guys. You guys are gonna have to bear with me today. So yeah, we're just gonna get into the week ahead, especially this week as we are building up towards a lunar eclipse in the sign of Virgo. That is like a full moon lunar eclipse. It is actually a full moon on steroids. So it is actually pretty intense, and we are already feeling the energy right now. So it's happening on the 3rd of March, with this within 2 days. So of course, we're already like in this portal, and we're still in the eclipse portal. So yeah, a lot of destined changes, a lot of unprecedented things moving forward. But first, we need to close a very big door, because full moon lunar eclipses, they are about like closing a door while another one isn't like fully open yet, and we can feel a little bit in between the energy, and it can feel rather unstable with the Mars square Uranus we just had. And then eclipses, they always tend to be like very big indicators of unexpected change. So we've got all of that combined right now, so it is rather interesting. We also still are in the energy of Saturn Neptune and the conjunction that took place on February the 20th. And yeah, it's just like indicating a lot of the systems that we are used to depend upon are now actually dissolving quite massively. So yeah, it is very intense energy. And of course, the headliners of this month is Mercury retrograde in the sign of Pisces, that is taking us in a very deep, energetic, emotional realm. Pisces rules over the unseen worlds, the unseen realms, the things that we cannot grasp, the things that we cannot prove, but that our body definitely feels to be very, very true. And when Mercury goes retrograde, there are miscommunications. We now feel all a little bit lost in space. We can feel a little bit with our head in the clouds, not really having a lot of clarity right now. And there is a lot of uncertainty for sure. And Ashley, of course, says yes, Dubai airport shut down. I've talked about it in my last weekly that we were going to see a lot of problems with airplanes and airports being shut down. So, yeah, that is definitely also part of Mercury retrograde here in Pisces, because Pisces, it is a global sign. So yeah, more of that is about to come, definitely. And yes, Laura, thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Thank you for mentioning that, Laura. And Eva says, "Hey Astrid, I really like your funny accent. It's cute, and you are the right person in the right place. Your stars guided you to beyond mystic." Yes, for sure. Actually, Eva, it's the first time that I'm actually doing something that perfectly aligns with my own natal chart. So that is actually very interesting. And I'm very, very grateful to be giving the opportunity and to be talking to you guys about such a spectacular year of 2026. And I almost do not dare to say it, but March is actually going to be astrologically a bit more like the calm before the storm. And I do not want to scare you guys in any kind of way, but this is definitely the month to recharge, to unwind, to take more rest, to just like do not force clarity, do not force changes. The eclipses are doing their thing. There's already a lot of unexpected things coming up. But this one in Virgo is definitely about a very big release point within our job, within our health. And of course, we are going to get into that even more fully. And of course, yeah, Ashley says, air is Saturn, Neptune, beware of ideas of March. Well, actually, Saturn, Neptune are right now in Aries. That is a fire sign. But Mercury retrograde is about ideas, information, facts, knowledge. That is going retrograde in Pisces. And that is definitely having to be more aware and really use our discernment. Full moon eclipse in Virgo to really look at what's going on, because it's not all perfectly clear right now. And that is also okay. It doesn't have to be like that. So Mercury retrograde, our boundaries and our energetic system, it is like more porous. And we really need to look at our energetic entanglements and what effects that has on our physical body, the sign of Virgo. And we really need to look at our like savior complexes and our coping mechanisms and our victim narratives, as that is all now needing to be purged. Because if you look at the chart of the eclipse here, this is it, the lunar eclipse in Virgo, then we see the whole stellium here in the sign of Pisces. It is a water sign, and then here we see the eclipse. So that is already within a couple of days on the 3rd of March. So we're already like going through such a big rewind and reassessment of the sign of Pisces. And Pisces in its higher manifestation is really about dreams and compassion and our intuition and unconditional love. But in the lower manifestation, it's about lies, deceit, spiritual bypassing, and Mercury now rewinds. So it's like reassessing all of these negative manifestations, and it's going to reveal a great deal in those regards. And we also see Saturn, Neptune now in Aries. This is about like radical self-responsibility, and we need to be careful not to try to save people who do not want to be saved. Big focus on your own physical health, your own body, what you are purging on an energetic level right now. We need to set mature boundaries, but that is not easy, because Another big headliner of this month is, of course, Mars entering the sign of Pisces. So, Mars is about our direction, our motivation, our desire, our will to move forward. And in Pisces, that becomes more like, yeah, going with the flow. We can all feel a little bit weakened in the next 6 weeks because Mars will stay into Pisces for the next 6 weeks. We can all feel a little bit demotivated, honestly, and definitely with Mercury retrograde. Mars loses, or like it weakens a lot of its like capabilities in the sign of Pisces. And although it is beautiful, if you want to like create something, be creative, be like making movies, art, film, photography. Look at what's happening in Hollywood or like the streaming platforms, because with the Mercury retrograde, we can see changes in that. And a lot of people are gonna try to go into, yeah, escapism with this whole water stellium here. Be careful not to try to hide too much under the covers. Really use Mars's like motivation to tap more into all of your spiritual practices. That is going to help you massively to deal with this water stellium. And of course, this month, water is the most dominant theme here, or the most dominant element. And that is really like the yin energy, and tapping into slowing down and feeling first instead of forcing our will. It's about intuition over logic. And yeah, we need to really surrender instead of trying to keep control here with the full moon eclipse in the sign of Virgo. Virgo is known for control. We really need to like let go. It is a portal of release that in itself is already tied to a full moon lunar eclipse, but it's conjunct the south node. And the south node is what really needs to go out of our life. And the north node right now is pointing towards Pisces. But we have like a whole overdose of Pisces. And while I'm saying overdose, actually drugs and like pharmaceuticals and substance abuse are all tied towards Pisces as well. We can, with this Mercury retrograde, have a lot of truth being revealed in those regards as well. And of course, what's happening with Mexico right now? Mexico is in Virgo rising, and now that Mars enters into Pisces, we're going to see more drug-related wars, conflicts popping off. That is definitely going to see some kind of like a continuation. Maybe not in that specific country, but definitely Pisces is a global sign. We can see that playing out over the entire world more, that these themes are going to be triggered. And we all feel collectively a little bit more frustrated. Pisces is a collective sign. Mars deals with frustration, and having such an overdose of Pisces energy can feel us very, very sensitive, very tired. It's like our energetic like armor or shield is becoming more permeable, and we are going to be faced with the consequences of like operating within a negative environment, and which cost it has on our body, Virgo. And we really need to release self-sabotaging behavior, shooting ourselves in the foot, not believing in our own strength, because Saturn and Neptune and Aries is really about believing in ourselves. Stop handing our power away to all of the systems that we've been relying upon. It is about tapping into our intuition, believing in ourselves, and stop trying to save others who do not want to be saved right now. That is going to help you massively to through this period. And we're becoming way more aware of all the subtle energies and where we are leaking in those regards, and how that's manifesting within our physical body. So Virgo eclipse, it is about physically detoxifying, needing extra rest. But first you need to like energetically detoxify. And if you're going to balance out both sides of the spectrum, then you're going to be setting yourself up in a very good position before April, when Aries season kicks off. That is already like happening on the 20th of March, of course. But in Aries, we're going to see a very big in April, we're going to see a very big Aries stellium happening of 7 planets here within that sign. And one of the biggest tips that I can give you guys is Pisces is like the underdog. It is people who are not seen, not heard in society, people who are homeless, the unfortunate, the underdog, people who are living on the street, people who are living in jails, hospitals, confined places. All of that belongs to Pisces. And with such a big stellium, I feel also with Mars, the warrior planet, in this sign, that a lot of people are going to try to divert from conflict, and they're going to let people walk over themselves. And I would strongly advise you not to do that, because if you're going to let people walk all over you in the next coming weeks, then you're going to completely pop off whenever Aries season starts by the end of March. So draw your boundaries. It is difficult right now. And there is such a huge emphasis on the spiritual warrior, because Mars is, of course, the warrior, and Mars belongs to Aries, but Mars is in Pisces. And if we look at Aries, we see Neptune. And Neptune normally belongs to Pisces. So they are in each other's sign. There is a mutual reception, which means they have like a hotline phone calling to one another, and they're saying like, hey, how are you doing there in my sign? I would actually rather be there with you, where you are, but it's not possible. So in both signs, the spiritual warrior archetype is being triggered massively. So yeah, and Laura says, no wonder I'm always for the underdog, having a stellium and Pisces myself, always learning something new. Exactly, Laura. And I also have a Pisces stellium, and I always tend to also come up for like people who are not being heard or seen, or like being left in the cold. So yeah, it is very, actually, it is special energy, you guys, having such a big, massive planetary parade in the sign of Pisces. And of course, on the 28th, that was very like massively witnessed in the sky, that they were all aligning at like one line. It was very visible here from Earth. That in itself also always indicates a very spectacular moment in history. And that is really what we saw right yesterday with all the bombs going off. So another thing I want to mention is that with this whole bunch of Pisces planets and Mars here as well, there is like lowered immunity. And we have a lunar eclipse in the sign of the physical body. So there can be more fatigue, more brain fog, feeling energetically overwhelmed. And Pisces also deals with our dreams and our sleeping routines. And with Mars entering there, we can suffer a little bit more from big activations within our dreams. Some of us are going to deal with a little bit more nightmares. That is possible here. There is this collective frustration, and if you are sensitive towards it, it's going to also manifest or come true within your dreams right now. So very vivid dreams, very active dreams. A lot of people are going to be putting in a lot of work within their dreams, like while they're sleeping. That's going to be very profound for a lot of people. And it's really about reassessing all of our unconscious programs and our conditioning and how that affects our physical body. And the body keeps the score, you guys. Virgo rules the intestines, especially the gut. If you feel it in your gut, you might need to purge it. If someone is draining you, if you feel leaks within your auric field, you need to purge it very strongly right now. Put emphasis on somatic healing here. Do like dream journaling. Also, with Mars here in Pisces, it would be very beneficial to go to the sauna, really step into like steam or heat and fog. All of that is going to help you to really cleanse out everything with the Virgo eclipse here. And also, because it can disturb a little bit of our sleeping patterns right now, it would be very beneficial to put like a very big, how do you say it, vase, or like a bucket, or like, yeah, something very big that you can fill up with water, and you put a very, very big amount of salt in that. I have it here at a very specific location inside of my home. A feng shui practitioner helped me to pick out the correct spot that is going to be different for anyone depending on your house and how it's located towards the north and the south. It is actually quite interesting to learn more about your own home and like which sector of your house is actually helping you with specific themes in your life. But definitely, if you do not know someone who practices feng shui, you can definitely just follow your own intuition, tap into that right now, because the veil, it is so thin right now with all of these Pisces planets, and we are heading up towards the equinox. And the equinox is of course also always a point where everything gets thinner and where like manifestation comes sooner, like true in reality. So really cleanse in the next couple of weeks, take more rest, tap into your own intuition, withdraw, like detach from the noise. I know it's very chaotic out there and a lot of it is going on, but it's going to be important to rest and recharge before we go into Aries season. Otherwise, you're already going to burn yourself out before Aries season kicks off, and then it's going to be a very hard time. So, um, yeah, Rosalie says, like, hi, Astrid, feeling very sensitive and vulnerable. Watching from the Netherlands. That's so cool. That's my neighboring country. So, hello, Rosalie. Yes, I know we all feel the collective weight on our shoulders quite strongly right now. So, which stress is stored in your body? Listen to Shannon's shows. She's like teaching all of you guys how to put intention within your water and in your food. And that is going to be of uttermost importance. Like Virgo eclipses, they ask for purity. And then we can tap into the magical portal of Pisces to really put intentions in our water and our food. And of course, we do not need to wait to have a whole Pisces stellium to do that. But now the energy is definitely heightened to do that. So, which habits are actually draining your life force? We need to release that. And which environments are actually draining your energy? Unwind, untap, detach, really cleanse, purify, detoxify. These are the main themes for this Virgo eclipse for sure. So, yeah. Also, of course, Virgo, it deals with our routines and our work. So there can be like a very big culmination happening at work, or maybe a release of co-workers. That can also be one of the themes. But it's definitely putting an emphasis on how we can release stress from our daily routines. And that in itself can already be a little bit stressful because Virgo deals with stress, and we all need to go out and about and fix a lot of things in our daily life. But here it's also telling us to work smarter and not harder. Tap into the Pisces magical realms to get some more answers from your higher self, from your spirit guides who are actually going to help you purify now over the next couple of weeks. This is actually a massive collective unconscious karmic clearing that is happening right now. And we really need to also practice a lot of compassion. Another big headliner of this week is, of course, that actually this month, on the 10th of March, Jupiter is going to station direct. And how beautiful, isn't it, that Jupiter is actually trining this Pisces stellium? So Jupiter is actually dispositing back to Pisces, and it's installing more wisdom and more like insights, and it is about higher knowledge, and it's in the sign of Cancer. So Cancer deals with everything that happens at home with our mother, and there can be very big karmic clearings in our patterns of upbringing. And a lot of luck is going to be reboosted from the 10th of March within our home space, the sign of Cancer, and there can be a lot of blessings of family coming through. So this is like a bit of like emotional protection, and I think we're going to feel a relief, like a collective relief from the 10th of March. This is like supportive energy for our family and our soul tribe. There can be more like a return of hope. Like, yeah, hope is going to be more restored. So yeah, water rituals are definitely also very important because we have the Pisces stellium, we have Jupiter, the protection, like the guardian, the one who looks out for us. It's like the protection of the gods. And it's also in a water sign. By the end of the month, on the 18th, more exactly, we're going to also see a new moon in Pisces. So, yeah, water is really the dominant element of this month. So, we need to do water rituals and prayer and meditation and energetic cleansing, salt baths, working with structured, purified water, take a lot of walks nearby, like the ocean, and really cleanse your aura. Do like some energetic, like energy healing or soul retrieval work. All of that is gonna help you massively. And it's really about like becoming unstuck and cleansing everything that blocks us. And that is definitely talking about our own coping mechanisms. So with this eclipse in Virgo, really take your supplements, hydration, gentle, soft yin movement, and especially like go to saunas where they have like salt blocks within the sauna. I have one here around the corner, and I'm so happy that they have like this salt sauna. I'm like, I wish I could live inside of the salt sauna because I can feel when I'm sitting in it that it just like releases so much toxins, and it just helps me to feel more clear within my mind. And because Virgo also rules over our belly and our intestines, it would also be wisely to actually do some kind of a fast. I fast all of the time. There are only a couple of hours within a day that I actually eat. So within like one time frame, I mostly eat only after noon, and then before 7, of course. And yeah, sometimes I have a little bit of a sweet tooth, so I'm gonna have to be honest with you guys. I do tend to sometimes have a snack before bed, and I know that's not really helpful, but fasting is also going to help you to gain clarity because that's really missing right now with the Mercury retrograde in Pisces. So, yeah, my mother is saying Kangen water. Exactly. Like, hi, mom. So glad you're following along as well. We indeed have like Kangen water devices installed in our home. It is like a purifier, and it's even like electrolytes. Like, I don't know how to say it in English, but there's like an electrical charge that is being made whenever you run water through the machine, and it actually makes your water alive again. And then you can see like all of the hydrogen bubbles, and that is also, of course, very, very beneficial to have that in your home. So also with this Pisces stellium, rest without feeling guilty and choose softness over self-criticism. We really need to release all of that. So this is a very big month of purification, of regaining your boundaries, and we're actually clearing lifetimes of density from our physical system right now. So protect your energy and support the body, and let all of the water really carry away what you no longer need. Really do not try to force forward momentum when the universe right now is clearly asking for like a lot of reflection and release. Slowing down is actually going to be productive. And Virgo wants to be productive all of the time. It needs to feel useful in order to calm down at night. But that is like a conditioning. So we really need to appreciate ourselves, be less harsh on ourselves, and allow ourselves to really tap into like our intuition and into slowing down. Listening to your intuition right now is going to get you way further than actually pushing for immediate results. And look at what your body is telling you. It is actually your soul that is ready to release all of the things that did it, like that it outgrown. So and with Mars entering Pisces, maybe I need to list a bit more of the mundane manifestation here, because with this Mercury retrograde, as it goes backwards into the sky, It's going to conjunct with Mars. First with the Sun, of course, then with Mars. But with Mars and Pisces as well, we can see a very big emphasis on conflicts over water, over naval routes, like shipping lanes, like the Strait of Hormuz. I'm actually surprised that they've closed it down before Mars was in Pisces, honestly. But definitely we're going to see more of that. Also, Pisces deals with jails and mental asylums and also with missing people. We can have news of like lost information coming back to the surface in regards to cold cases of missing people. That is going to be quite profound here in the next few weeks. And also, yeah, I've already mentioned like the drug related conflicts, but also in those regards, things are going to be exposed with the Mercury retrograde because Mercury digs up like buried information from the past. And in Pisces, it can even be about past life information coming back. It is very elusive, it is very mystical, but there is definitely going to be a big emphasis on battles over water. And of course, Mercury retrograde in such a global sign of Pisces, it deals with global trade. And all of that is going to be massively reviewed and reassessed as well. So also, actually, Pisces also deals with ancient knowledge, ancient like civilizations. And what did we saw like last year? If we rewind a little bit to Pisces season of 2025, we had a full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo on March the 14th. That was also accompanied by a Mercury retrograde from Aries back into Pisces. So what happened between the 14th of March and the solar eclipse we saw in Aries on the 29th of March? We saw a lot of hidden knowledge return about the pyramids, like everything that's happening under the pyramids, how they are like batteries and how that's like connected to free energy. And of course, a lot of you already know that, but that got like cycled through in the mainstream media. I'm very, very curious now if they're gonna research more what's under these things. There are still a lot of other things we do not know about. So I'm definitely curious if we're going to see more of that in the next couple of weeks, as that ties back so closely to last spring when we had the exact same things going on here in the chart. So yeah, I'm actually looking forward to that. Also, Pisces, there is like definitely telepathic communication going on as well right now. We can really feel that it's way more easy to talk to people like through images, feelings, depth, emotions, and it can be very striking right now. So let me know if you're also feeling that. And Lakeside Laura says, I had an ancient civilization appear in my meditation this morning that was underwater. Yes, Atlantis is also, of course, part of that. And this is the year of disclosure. We're going to hear so much more about the full truth of our history and how they are actually been playing us. But you guys already know that, of course. So the Virgo eclipse on a more mundane level, that is really going to totally restructure the workforce, unfortunately, because it's a point of release. We're going to see massive layoffs in regards to like the working class due to technology, of course, as well. But also, we're going to see so many things being revealed in regards to our health and our well-being, and how the medical procedures of all those years ago, which effect it has on our body, but also on our energetic body. Like what happens when people who took so many shots, like what happens when you cross over to another realm? And all of these deeper questions, that is also part of the sign of Pisces. And I think we can have some shocking revelations coming forth from that. And of course, yeah, I think we can see a big announcement of RFK as well with the full moon lunar eclipse. And this eclipse got actually seeded last year in September when we had the solar eclipse in Virgo. And what did we saw back then? A lot of exposure around autism and how that's affecting children and the fertility and all of that. So I'm expecting actually more of that. Next year, during Pisces season, we are going to see our last eclipse in the sign of Virgo. So then we will wrap up the entire eclipse axis of Pisces and Virgo. Of course, then the nodes will already have shifted over into Aquarius and Leo, but still we can see more revelations in regards to all of these themes. So yeah, big exposure, definitely, about our health and well-being. And a lot of people are going to be changing their jobs, changing their diets, ending draining obligations. It is also about like a restructuring or reorganization of our time. And some of us are going to be confronted with like finally having to address a long-standing health issue. Just know that tap into progress over perfection. And I think like burnout is also going to be a very, very big topic over the next few months. So yeah, this is such a big reality check in all of the global systems, because Pisces, it deals with the unseen, it deals with the mystical, but Virgo deals with our reality and how like all the systems operate within our reality. That is also why it is such a like striking, like how strikingly it's tied back to the exposure of like ancient Egypt, because that is really about like yeah, also energy sources and all of that, and how that's actually being used or how that was operating within our reality. So definitely more about that coming out. And we need to be a little bit more careful with like imagery right now on social media. Pisces also deals with our screens and with the content that we are consuming, and that can be a little bit like redacted or like something is being messed. It's being messed with. Like Pisces is our collective unconsciousness, and how's everything being like installed on that, and we are more susceptible to brainwash right now. So we need to be a little bit careful, not believing everything you see or read without like checking the facts. Mercury is about the facts, but Pisces, it is this boundless, endless ocean, and it does not have any facts for Mercury to operate upon. That's why we need to tap into the Virgo axis. And Pisces, it also deals with immigration and the borders, and Mercury retrograde is also reviewing all of that. Big news in regards to all of these themes that I've just mentioned on the 20th of March. Really look at what's being released in the media during that time, because then Mercury will switch back to its direct motion, and it will do that conjunct to North Node at 8 degrees. And 8 degrees, it is a Scorpio degree. That is why this Mercury retrograde is also a bit intenser than usual. So also forgive other people if there are like some misunderstandings, or if they like mess up the time. It is all a little bit up in the air right now. And before I switch over to other mundane charts, I do want to highlight that the Sabian symbol of this Virgo eclipse is actually a powerful statesman overcomes a state of political hysteria. So that is the Sabian symbol for 12 degrees of Virgo. And 12 degrees, it is a Pisces degree. Just what we need with all of this Pisces energy. So yeah, very striking eclipse here. And they are always tied to very big moments of revelations and endings and releases. So let's look a bit at some mundane charts. We're going to look at the eclipse, how that's playing out for some of the people we are very, very well aware of right now. So Trump has the eclipse in his first house of identity. We also see that Mars was actually conjunct to the eclipse degree yesterday. So I've warned in my weekly forecast that when Mars would re-trigger the solar eclipse degree of the one in Aquarius that we just saw on the 17th, that will be a major deal. So yeah, with the square to Uranus, square to his Mars, Mars opposite Mars, he's gonna have to be careful, honestly. Trump having his natal Mars in the 12th house, that can be about hidden attacks, unfortunately. And with Mars opposite Mars, that is strongly triggered right now. And it squares Uranus. And Uranus is in his 10th house of reputation. So this is actually a very big T square. And then with the eclipse in his first house, that definitely lights him up very strongly. And also, it lights up every angular house. So the first, the fourth, the seventh, and the 10th. These are the angular houses. And that is like the stability of the chart. So when one house gets triggered, automatically all the others get triggered by a square. And that is rather intense and potent. So we can see that Trump has a lot of mutable energy. He has a lot of planets here in Gemini and his 10th house of reputation, and is also like authority position, but also in his 4th house here in Sagittarius. So whenever we see an eclipse making tensor aspects to like natal mutable energy, that indicates a lot of things, actually, a lot of action, a lot of massive revelations here as well. And why is there like difficulties with his tariffs right now? That is because Mercury retrograde, it's stationed retrograde at 22 degrees. And Trump has his 8th house cusp at 22 degrees, and the 8th house deals with taxes and money of other people. So Mercury stopped here, right here, and it went retrograde in the 7th house. So it's reviewing and reassessing everything in regards to taxes right now. And now it's going back in the 7th house that deals with enemies and allies. And having Mars on the 7th house translates often in times of confrontation with open enemies. So that is like the astrology of that. If you then look at the lunar eclipse of the US, then of course it happens in the 9th house of foreign affairs, and it squares the rising sign. So there is a change in how the identity of the country is being affected right now. Also very strongly indicated here. Of course, Mars was conjunct to Moon. That is always a big indicator of tension. And Uranus is squaring that for the very last time, indicating a lot of shocks, surprises, changes, innovation being made. And it's in the 3rd house here, the whole Pisces stellium. And the 3rd house rules over communication and the news. So there's a lot of jam-packed energy happening in that right now. If you then check at Netanyahu, then there's a striking similarity here, you guys. Like, do you see this similarity? Netanyahu has his rising sign at 13 degrees of Sagittarius, and the US has it at 12 degrees of Sagittarius. If we look at Trump's chart, Trump has Mars at 26 degrees of Leo, and Netanyahu actually has Mars at 26 degrees of Leo as well. So there are so many striking similarities between these 3 charts that all got triggered here now also by Uranus. Sudden change, shocks, surprises. Uranus deals with what flies through the air, missiles. So Mars is conflict, of course. In the 9th house, Saturn is authority of another country, and there is being a massive release triggered by that. If we then look at the chart for Iran, then we can see actually that the full moon lunar eclipse happens at 12 degrees, and their natal Saturn is also at 12 degrees. So Saturn in the 6th house in Virgo, the 6th house is actually the house of misfortune in traditional astrology. But Saturn here rules over the 10th house cusp, because Saturn belongs to Capricorn, and the 10th house is government and people leading the country, like the top figures, leadership, all of that falls into the 10th house. So we see a massive release on Saturn, and Saturn rules the 10th house of the leader. So also very mind-blowing here that Pluto is the planet of intensity, and destruction, and really things being like burned to the ground, literally and figuratively, honestly. And I do not like to say it, or I'm having no fun in saying that at all, but it is what's indicated in the chart here very clearly. And Pluto is on top of Mercury, and Mercury deals with cities. So yes, this is yeah, very profound astrology, but there are a lot of things going on behind the scenes of Iran that we do not know about right now. Look, this whole stellium is packed into the 12th house. And the 12th house and also Pisces, it deals with things that are being hidden, that we cannot see, that we cannot understand. It also deals with secret societies. And on a more general mention, now that I'm thinking about it, Mercury retrograde in Pisces is going to expose a lot of these secret societies as well. But look here, Mercury, cities, going retrograde over the South Node, a point of very, very big release. So, of course, I am not, and I want to state that like very clearly, I am not an expert on war in the Middle East. I've never visited the Middle East. I do not have people that I know of that live in Iran, what's going on in Iran. We know that there are very horrible things going on in Iran. And actually, before I did this show, I was a little bit reluctant on talking about it because there are a million of different opinions about it. And I actually drew some cards and I shuffled my deck, and what fell out of the cards was like I asked what the implications were of everything happening right now. And it said the action that was taking is going to improve the situation. That is what the cards were telling me. And before I wrap up this, I want to show you a video that Janine actually posted today. And you can look it up at her X channel, of course, Tarot by Janine. She posted a video here of the Promethean action. And I'm not going to play it right here as it's 15 minutes long, but it's showing us how like the British Empire has like financial control over Iran for like over 100 years. And it really lets you see things from like another perspective, and you can gain a lot of clarity by looking at what this very smart lady has to tell each and every one. So if you feel a little bit confused with everything that is going on, look at this specific video, and it's going to help you to gain a bit more perspective, as it is kind of hard right now with Mercury retrograde. And there are so many things going on behind the scenes that it is sometimes very difficult for us to form a proven like opinion on that. It is almost impossible now with Mercury retrograde, but we can sure try and listen to multiple perspectives, of course. So if we now look at the lunar eclipse, for Canada, that also falls in the 6th house, rather closely conjunct the North Node. It squares to Venus, so there can be some news or like a lot of layoffs in the workforce, Virgo, and it is somehow going to be bad for like the currency. But I guess that's also nothing new for you guys, unfortunately. And we also see Canada is an Aries rising, just like the chart for Iran. So there are also a lot of things going on behind the scenes here that we do not yet know about. Now, what really took like my attention was that Pluto, planet of destruction, is opposing Mercury exact right now. And Mercury is also about contracts. And Leo is a sign of leadership. So if we look at the chart of Mark Carney, then we see something very interesting happening for him. He has the full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo right on top of his moon, you guys. Look, he has a Uranus, Moon, Pluto, Mars conjunction. It is a stellium in the sign of Virgo, control freak. And not all Virgos are control freak, but having Mars on Pluto in itself is already rather negative, having a moon, his emotions, and Uranus. This is a lot, you guys. For those who know astrology, when you see this in a chart, you're like, holy guacamole. So the full moon lunar eclipse is illuminating all of that. He might even have a health scare. It's in his 6th house, and I do not wish anyone harm, of course, but it's still, yeah, it is indicated here. His 6th house, of course, is also his house of work and daily routine. And look at what Mercury's retrograde is doing right now. It has been stationing retrograde on his Sun, on his Venus, over Chiron, and it will station direct on Saturn. And Saturn is dealing with the government. Mercury retrograde is dissolving Pisces contracts with Mercury retrograde, so dissolving contracts in regards to like authority or within the government. You guys, Mars and Mercury are going to get conjunct here from the 13th until the 15th of March, and it will be very close towards his Chiron and his Saturn. I would not be surprised, you guys, if he were to like resign in some kind of way or be replaced or fell ill in some kind of way, and that's why he's gonna need to withdraw in some kind of manner. It is very, very interesting here, you guys. Mercury is about to go direct on the 20th of March on his Saturn, and it's going to bring up some hidden stuff in regards to him, and it's going to cause a conflict with Mars here as well. So pretty interesting stuff, you guys. We're really going to need to watch closely and pay a lot of attention how this plays out, because having so much energy here affecting your own natal placements, this is like a bomb that can go off, and I mean like metaphorically, honestly. So if we then look at the next chart, we look at the one of Pam Bondi. There's kind of a little bit of the same story going on. Pam Bondi also has her moon, Pluto, and Uranus together in Virgo. So the lunar eclipse is also affecting that strongly. Now for Pam Bondi, we do not have an exact date, hour of birth, so it's more difficult to really make like precise predictions. But here there's kind of the same story. Mercury is retrograding over Chiron and is gonna shift back direct on Saturn here as well. So you guys, Mercury and Mars are going to be conjunct at 10 degrees exactly, and 10 degrees, it is a Capricorn degree. So double emphasis here for Bam Bondi as well. Something very important is going to be revealed between the 13th of March and the 20th of March. Watch the 13th and the 15th especially. It's going to be quite big, you guys. So, and to end the mundane charts, we're going to take a quick look at Keir Starmer, because guess what? We have another eclipsed person, but for him, it's his sun. Looking at this chart, looking at him having a moon, full moon lunar eclipse on his Sun Pluto conjunction, that is a lot to deal with, honestly. We do also not have an exact hour of birth, but still, Mercury is also going to go retrograde, direct back on his conjunction here of Jupiter and Chiron. There's going to be some files released that are going to be causing him a lot of wounds, and it's going to be even amplified by Jupiter here. Yeah, Mercury stationing back direct on his Chiron. This is not good news here with an eclipse on his Sun. Sun is leadership position, Pluto is power, eclipse mark an ending. So yeah, this is interesting astrology, and we're gonna need to watch really closely how all of that plays out. So I'm gonna quickly look at the comments, as I was just like a little bit wrapped up in all of the mundane charts. But yeah, okay, you guys are all doing well. Then we're gonna look a bit more at the entire month ahead, and I'm gonna do that a little bit more quickly. So of course, Mars enters Pisces. I'm gonna talk a little bit more about that in my weekly. Then on the 5th of March, the Sun is gonna trine Jupiter. that is actually a positive day. Sun is like the light of life, trining Jupiter, the great benefic in Cancer. We can find a lot of luck going on at home and within the people that are very close to us. This is one of the most luckiest and like the most emotionally supportive days of the month. So a lot of expansion in family, fertility, and emotional security. So there can be some kind of good news coming in those regards, because I've been talking a lot about the mundane charts and how there's so much chaos and so much revelations, but that doesn't mean that your own personal life needs to be so chaotic right now. We can definitely find peace within, and Sun trine Jupiter is definitely going to help us. On the 6th, we're seeing Venus entering the sign of Aries. Venus, unfortunately, is going to be in detriment in Aries. She does not really like to be there because she belongs to the opposite sign of Libra, where she is at home. Still, she's becoming a little bit more independent, and there can definitely be like a little bit more bold energy, like honest conversations, honest desires, can actually be quite yeah, passionate. But Venus in Aries, she likes to hunt, and the hunt is more interesting than the actual catch. So that is something that you need to be a little bit careful for. And because she's going to conjunct Neptune and Saturn for the very first time in Aries, that can be an indicator of like fast attractions but fast breakups, and some people are going to choose themselves like without apology. Aries is more about what do I want and my desires, without really taking into accountability other people's desires. On the 7th, we see Sun conjunct Mercury. So that is the Mercury Cazimi here. And there can be somehow a bit of clarity coming in, but do not initiate anything. It is about really handling all of the tasks that we have been piling up on the shelf, and we need to take it off, and we need to handle everything now that we have been postponing. Definitely big news in the media. Hidden information is gonna resurface. A lot of missing pieces are gonna return, and the puzzle can start to feel a little bit more complete. If you're an intuitive, it is the perfect time for intuitive downloads, and they're going to be quite undeniable. But definitely we're going to see some leaked information here, and that is going to cause a major announcement. So on the 7th, the Sun on the 7th, Venus is going to conjunct Neptune. So some people are going to feel a very big peak in romance, while others are going to see a very big peak in illusion at the same time. You can draw in soulmate experiences, but be careful of deception, projection, and confusion. Definitely in financial matters. Venus also rules over our money. And then the day after that, she's going to conjunct Saturn. And that is why I'm giving you a warning, because Venus conjunct Saturn can be a little bit depressing. It can be about getting confronted with reality within our relationships, within our finances. And some of us are going to feel regret or are going to feel guilty without having an actual explanation. So it's very necessary to really draw boundaries in love right now. This is like a reality check after a dream state. So it's all happening quite closely towards one another. Then on the 9th, or on the 8th, depending on where you live in the world, Mercury is going to trine Jupiter in Cancer. That can be good news coming through, luckily. We're going to need it. The 8th and 9th, very good for like, reconciliations, having a successful negotiation. You're going to have supportive conversations within your family happening as well. So actually very beneficial for therapy also. Then we have something very beautiful happening here on March the 10th, because Jupiter is going to station direct in Cancer. So this is going to be a welcoming relief. Patterns and upbringing wants to be healed, and it's going to heal faster. There can be more blessings at home, but definitely wounds in regards to family they want to heal. And it's really about healing our ancestral line. So yeah, this is like finally a collective green light. The protector, the great benefic, is going back in its forward motion. So there's like, again, forward momentum within our emotions and our family relations. On the 13th, Mars is going to conjunct with the North Node. So this is really, unfortunately, destined war drums, destined conflict. It's at 8 degrees, a Scorpio degree. On a personal level, it's more about like faded action that gets aligned with our soul purpose. So you can really make a very big, courageous decision based rather on your intuition than your logic. We're going to see a boost in spiritual activism, in humanitarian actions as well. And a lot of people are going to be walking away from a path that no longer feels aligned, and they're going to start to really hone in into the North Node. Because the North Node is where we are being collectively pushed right now, and it's in Pisces. Destined meetings, sudden calls to a new path, and the actions that we will be making and that also the collective will be making during that day, it is going to be like permanently redirect our future. So our actions are going to determine our future quite strongly during that day. And on the 15th, we see Mercury retrograde conjunct Mars in Pisces. So I think that is going to be a very big day for like naval conflicts, coastal cities having to defend themselves in some kind of way. We're going to see some pretty intense battles over waters, unfortunately. On the personal level, this is going to be a day with a lot of arguments. There can be a lot of sharp words. There can be frustrations. Mars, it rules knife, guns, bombs, everything that is sharp, heat, explosions. Be careful with what you say. You might really, really hurt someone during that day, and it might be very, very difficult to undo the hurt because it's in Pisces. It's gonna leave like a permanent scar on our soul. So be sweet to one another. Do not like project your anger onto other people during that day. That is gonna be so, so important. All the internal conflicts that we're feeling now within our soul, even past life conflicts that want to be purged by this lunar eclipse in Virgo, all of that is going to become quite outwardly expressed. So yeah, there's going to be like major realizations that we cannot ignore anymore. And I think some people have been staying quiet. And if you have been holding things in, then it's going to fly out during that day. But be careful, you guys. Focus on compassion and on guiding one another through this miraculous time. Mercury will then also conjunct the North Node before it stations back direct. So there can be a very big important message on the 17th that changes your path. Very karmic, destined people that you're going to meet, and they're probably going to be people from the past or your past life that are going to come back in. So very, very fated things that are going to come onto your path here on the 17th. Then we're going to see Venus square Jupiter in Cancer. Well, normally squares are a little bit more difficult, but the fact that they are the two benefics, that is quite okay. I've even like in a personal natal chart, when I do my client readings, when I see Venus square Jupiter, there can be like even over amplification of money or over amplification of potential suitors in love. So sometimes it can be like a little bit excessive. And we need to be a little bit careful not to overspend or not to become too optimistic in regards to love or finances. Some people are going to be still with the Pisces stellium in a little bit of denial, and they're going to act like everything is fine, and they're just going to like buy this and that just to like fill up the void. That is definitely something that you're going to see around you happening. So try to refrain yourself from that. Do not make like financial risks or like dramatic relational gestures. We need to recalibrate that a little bit. On the 18th, also, we see a new moon in Pisces. Definitely about a very big spiritual rebirth here. That is actually going to be a very positive new moon, and I think we can all use that. It's at 28 degrees, and that is a Cancer degree, so there is double water emphasis here right now. So it's really also about like tapping into our past lives, Pisces, about where we feel at home. 28 degrees here. And a lot of people are going to want to go back home, go back to where things are feeling less tense than where we are right now in like this collective state of mind and with what everything that is like happening. But new moons and Pisces, that is always for like setting intentions for healing and surrender. And just know that whatever you seed right now is going to fully blossom by the end of August, when we are about to see the last eclipse in the sign of Pisces. That will be a full moon lunar eclipse, and it will be at 4 degrees, if I remember correctly. And that is actually another Cancer degree. Oh, that is quite interesting. I haven't been thinking about that so far in the future just yet, but definitely whatever you plant right now is going to get a very big boost and revelation under an eclipse within 6 months of time. So be careful with what you draw into your reality right now, because it can become quite big over 6 months of time. We then also see, of course, that Mercury is about to station direct 2 days after this new moon. So then the very big reveal is going to come. So yeah, this is going to be very interesting energy. On the 20th, we see Aries season being kicked off. And of course, we're going to also see the equinox and the real new astrological year that is being kicked off. So not the Gregorian one, that is like the dead of winter. It's made to like, mess with our natural cycles of time, of course. But you guys know that as well. And also, I'm going to do like a whole equinox workshop, actually, that is going to go on the 22nd of March. I will be hosting a whole Aries season, equinox, new year kind of workshop. So if you guys want to tune in for that, I will be releasing that soon as well. And it's going to be important, as we are about to see so many planets in the sign of Aries, and it's gonna get pretty loud, you guys. Like, honestly, what we've seen now in the last couple of hours, it is actually a warm-up for what is about to be unleashed in April during Aries season, starting from the 20th of March. Having so many planets in the sign of Aries, that is going to be quite conflictive, quite confrontational. Now, in our personal lives, we can definitely use it to our advantage, and we can definitely move forward, and we're not longer being stuck in the mud. But like, we all know that the fire horse year just got kicked off as well. And I feel like a lot of people are just like jumping on their horse without learning how to tame it, and they're like destroying everything right now. And be careful in the month of March not to run into a burnout. That is why I've put such a big emphasis on healing the body and on taking rest and recuperating during the month of March now. Like, do not burn yourself out now before Aries season kicks off. That is like the most important thing you need to know right now. Yeah, I'm just quickly reading the comments. So yeah, Stain says, I want to go home too. Yes, Stain. I like perfectly understand you so well. And I was actually not going to talk about it, not to be too dramatic, but because you're putting this comment, I'm going to say it. Like, a couple of years ago, I had a near-death experience, and I crossed over for 15 minutes, and it was actually the most beautiful experience of my entire life, honestly. And people after that asked me like, Astrid, aren't you like happy that you're still here? And I was like, not really. And people had a very hard time about me answering that in a very honest and polite kind of way. But Pisces, it really has like this mystical, ethereal, boundless, so deep emotionally, energetically, like calmness and surrender and acceptance. And we know that Pisces also deals with like substance abuse and drinking and escaping and going into like another realm and being in denial, because Pisces are so sensitive and they sometimes struggle a lot with dealing with like harsher realities of here. They're like kind of still tapped in to like the other side and the unseen realm. And like once you visit those realms, there is nothing here on this physical plane that is going to make you feel the same kind of way. And I can really confirm that. A lot of people want to go home. A lot of people who are not fully grounded within this reality long for home. They long to their star system, or how do we call it in English? They long for home, and that is like a very big collective theme right now. That is also really happening, and a lot of people feel sad and they have like the homesick. How do you say it? Stain, you gotta help me out. Like reminiscing about the past lives, losing themselves in this earthly plane, because there is a kind of rather harsh reality going on right now. But untap or like detach from the microorganism or like the micro world right now. Focus on your micro world. Focus on your own surroundings. Jupiter gives you the blessings within inside of your home and your family. And I know a lot of you have probably grown up without having a supportive family, but you can create your own family and your own soul tribe. And that is why we're here for, all together. We're all in this together and we're all here to support one another. But I definitely do understand those emotions quite well. So yeah, with that being said, where was I? Yeah, Mercury stationing direct in Pisces at 8 degrees, the Scorpio degree. So the mental focus finally going to start lifting. But do not forget that Mercury is going to be in post shadow phase until the 9th of April. April. I'm seeing it in my Dutch accent. It's funny. Mercury retrograde. It is a big one. And Mercury also deals with like everything in regards to travel, communication, technology. All of that is going to finally start to like begin to normalize a little bit more. Then 2 days later, Mars is going to trine Jupiter. And this is like the Cadillac aspect of the entire month. Mercury is going to be back direct. The equinox is still into play. And then we see this very, very beautiful aspect of Mars trining Jupiter. And this is very beautiful, aligned. And like there can be heart or like actions from the heart that creates growth and forward momentum. And there can be expansion in your family. There can be moves that are connected to your purpose, new successful initiatives. And it's a trine energy in both water signs. Can be very about like emotional luck and feelings and intuition. And it's more like of water gifts that are being handed to you. So definitely a good day to act on your intuition, and Mars's energy and Jupiter amplifies that, and we're going to take necessary forward steps that are going to help us, and it's going to like come by itself. Trines are flowing aspects, so they tend to be like received very easily and they land onto your lap. The same day, we also see Sun conjunct Neptune and Aries. So that is going to be a very important one that I'm going to talk more about in my workshop, of course. But yeah, it's going to really illuminate how some leaders have been lying to us. We're going to see new spiritual leaders come in. We can see more arrests of very big prominent leaders with this aspect. It's also highlighting like the spiritual bypass and all of the mind control of the government and how that they like try to install all of that upon us. But it's gonna get exposed, definitely, for those who are able to see. Definitely another big activation of the spiritual warrior archetype. And we're going to see new, young, strong men really stand up against authoritarianism. So this is about being brave, you guys. Sun conjunct Neptune and Saturn in Aries. With the Sun on Saturn a couple of days later, we can see some leaders that can announce some kind of a health issue. Saturn also deals with age, and it also deals with karmic payouts. So that's going to be the case for some leaders, maybe even multiple leaders. So yeah, very big karmic test of responsibility and discipline, and long-term commitment also. So yeah, very big confrontations within like the realms of authority. Of course, we're also then seeing Saturn sextile Pluto, two outer planets making their exact sextile on March the 28th. That's on my birthday. I'm like really wondering, like, my solar return for this year. It's very interesting. But Saturn is about reality, karma. It's the lord of time. It is slow. It is about maturity. And then it sextiles Pluto. So sextile is a positive aspect. And Pluto is the planet of power and intensity. So Saturn is authority and Pluto is power. If we are able to tap into this, it can elevate us in some kind of way. It is very slow but powerful, like systematic, structural evolution. And on a mundane level, new systems that are being built during that time, they're gonna last for decades to come. So we can see very big shifts in policies and rules of the governments, and new long-term alliances being formed. And on a personal level, like decisions that will permanently change our life direction. So that is actually an interesting energy here. And then on the 30th of March, we are actually ending this monthly overview of the transits in a very beautiful way, because Venus is in her home sign in Taurus. So we're closing out the month in a rather like grounding, stable, and tangible new energy. It can be about rewards. I think we're gonna see a little like a little time frame in which finances, food, beauty, and all of that is going to become like, yeah, better in some kind of way. Like we can see a little bit of like financial stabilization, more security within our relationship, and a lot of people that want to choose peace over chaos. So it's going to be a very, very interesting shift here with Venus in her home sign of Taurus. So for this month, really work with the element of water, meditate, listen to frequency music, watch your food, do a parasite cleanse, because in Pisces, that are like the energetic vampires. But in Virgo, it's really like about the physical vampires as well, like the actual vampires. Why am I saying vampires? That is interesting, yeah. So the energetic vampires and then the physical parasites, and how that's like draining our energy, and that all now needs to go right now. So that is the most important focus for the year, for the month ahead. Cleans your spike proteins, because a lot of people think because they didn't receive the procedure that they are not like having to deal with the shedding of other people. Like I didn't took it, but I still need to from time to time. I do it every 3-4 months. I'm a Virgo rising. It's like a quarter. How do you say kwartalen? Every 4 months when you need to file your taxes. Every 4 months I need to do like such a spike cleanse. And it really helps because we, the aware people who didn't consent, we still also have to deal with that. And I think that is sometimes something that a lot of people tend to forget because they consciously said no, but still they're shedding on us, unfortunately. And we really need to deal with that as well because it takes so much energy of the body. So rest, recuperate before Aries season really kicks in. And I'm gonna draw a card for this month as we are seeing so many Pisces energy. I'm gonna draw a card from the Healing Waters Oracle. I think a lot of you guys know it. I really love that one. So what does the collective needs to know for the month of March? We have immerse yourself, training, learning new hobbies, passions. Immerse yourself in the beautiful, magical energy of the Pisces portal. Look at what makes you feel passionate. Really train yourself and drawing those boundaries and releasing these parasites and releasing like the energetic vampires. It is a training, and we need to learn to draw new boundaries, but we can see it as like a new hobby because it's going to be very apparent in the next couple of years. We all need to train and learn, and we need to learn how to do all of that, and it's actually a big test right now. It is not easy with the whole Pisces stellium and the Virgo eclipse right now. But definitely immerse yourself is really about like immerse yourself in all of the uncertainty and not knowing where things are going right now. It is about surrendering. It is about acceptance. And it's also about devotion to your spiritual path and just saying yes to life, even if it's a little bit chaotic. So immerse yourself is actually a very positive card. So I'm actually happy that this one came out. So yes, John says less aware of the exterior, more aware of the interior. Exactly. That is correct. So yeah, I'm gonna need to do this. And of course, before we quickly look at the 12 signs, I do want to highlight that Carla, you probably know our sweet Carla from Ascension Organized. She is actually having a sale. She's doing 25% off of the entire beginner's collection of her beautiful pyramids. And look, this is like the violet flame, and Alexandra worked with that yesterday in her Beyond Akashic video. And of course, we can really tap into all of the other frequencies right now, as it's going to help us massively to connect with the unseen realms and our higher self and our spirit guides as well. So you can order that at the Ascension Organite website, and you can use promo code BEGIN25 to get 25% off, and the promo code is going to be valid until the 7th of March. So with all of that being said, yes, exactly, Laura, thank you for sharing that. I'm going to take a little sip before we quickly look at the 12 signs. So, of course, you can listen for your sun sign first. Then you can also listen. Oh my God, this Mercury retrograde, it is doing me a head in. Like, we're gonna listen to our rising sign first, of course, and then you can also listen to your sun sign. So, we're gonna start with my fellow Aries sun, moon, or rising. So, you're gonna have this full moon lunar eclipse within your sixth house. And your sixth house really deals with your health and also with your work. So there can be a very big culmination or like a very big release happening within your daily life. There can be a very big accomplishment happening at your job. You can be celebrating with coworkers. Maybe some of you are going to say goodbye to some coworkers because they're like leaving. It is about a release going on into your sixth house. If you've been working towards like a health problem and then fixing that, you can see some positive news coming off of that. You can now really release something that has been bothering you, especially since September last year when we had the solar eclipse in your sign. Focus on your gut, focus on your health, and really look at your self-sabotaging patterns and your coping mechanisms with this whole stellium in the 12th house, and that is going to help you massively to untangle all of the health problems if you were to like encounter that right now. Definitely you can change your job with this one. You can feel more tired. You can feel a little bit unmotivated because there's like a release of the productive energy here as well. So you might need to tap a little bit more into the 12th house and release, rest, recuperate, meditate, and contact your spirit guides. This is really about like also, yeah, look at your sleeping cycles, because Mars is going to enter your 12th house, and Mars is of course your chart ruler. When it's in the 12th house, there can be some like disturbances or of sleeping patterns. That is definitely a possibility here for you. So just know also Mars is going to conjunct the North Node in your 12th house on 13th of March. Very faded action, soul aligned direction. On the 15th, Mercury is going to conjunct with Mars in your 12th house. This is really like mental and physical fatigue. You can have low energy, rest, recuperate, but just know that on the 21st of March, your chart ruler Mars is going to trine Jupiter. So that is like the best day of the entire month for you. March the 21st, just like mark your calendar. Then you're also going to have a new moon in Pisces in your 12th house, of course, on the 18th of March. And that again is putting another emphasis on like, yeah, a very big reset. And it's going to be not externally visible. It is what happens behind the scenes. This is about spiritual renewal and focus on emotional healing and on ending like a major chapter in your life. If you are an early Aries rising, then that is going to be very closely towards your ascendant. So take extra care of your body and put in like new intentions of rewiring your identity as well. And release past grief or resentment and recommit to your mental health. But this is definitely also a reconnection with your intuition. So you can feel like this is going to be like a seed that is being planted that is going to mark like the end of a long period of exhaustion or isolation or inner confusion. And 2 days later, Aries season gets kicked off. So that is going to be way better for you, my dear Aries. So good luck. We have Taurus and Moon or Rising. You're going to have the full moon, lunar eclipse in your 5th house, Taurus. This is so positive. It is the most fun house, honestly. And it's in another earth sign. So it's actually trining your sun, moon, or rising. So the 5th house, it is about romance and creativity, having a lot of fun and pleasure. If you've been creating something like with your hands or like pottery, ceramics, making something creative, then now you might see a very big completion in one of your passion projects, because the 5th house is the house where things get born. If you've been trying to get pregnant, you might get some good news here. It's also, of course, the 5th house of children. It can also manifest in your children's life. So let me know what happens for you. It's going to be quite a big one, and it's going to be good news, honestly. What are you creating? What does make you feel alive? And yeah, you can also like turn a hobby into a business, or also like finally decide what's worth your time, and maybe you need to implement more fun in your life. Mercury and the 11th, a lot of friends from the past are definitely bumping into your path right now again. And some of them might need closure, while others are going to help you move forward on the next leg of your journey. We also then look at Venus, because Venus is your chart ruler, and it's going to move from Pisces in the 11th into Aries in the 12th. So, yeah, supportive friends, helpful connections, tapping into like your networks, that can all feel very blessed now. As soon as it moves over into Aries in your 12th house, you might need a little bit more solitude, private feelings, secret crushes, unfinished emotional business. Yeah, it's like a strong pull, or like a strong urge to pull back and reflect a little bit more on past relationships as well, and be careful about romantic projection, and healing boundaries within love as well. If you don't look at the new moon for my dear Taurus, then that is going to happen in your 11th house. Very positive here, as it's going to sextile Uranus in your sign for the very last time. So this is a very big important seed that you're about to plant here, Taurus. And it's in the 11th. It is your social sphere. It is your like-minded tribe. It's your online community, and who you actually want to build your life with, and who you surround you with. Like Taurus, with all of the explanations I did for the month ahead, you are one of the signs that is going to be mostly implicated by feeling exhausted by spending time with the wrong people, because Pisces rules like your 11th house. So you are very, very attuned to like other people's energy, and it has a very big effect on you. So make sure that they're like spiritually grounded and fully aligned with your soul path, and that you're not causing some exhaustion, because Mars Mercury in your 11th house can definitely give some kind of like conflictive conversation with a friend from the past. That is definitely the case. And some of the connections are getting dissolved, but they're going to be replaced with new allies. So do not feel disappointed if that were to happen. The new moon in Pisces is planting a beautiful new seed for you in those realms. So Venus is going to enter Taurus, your sign, on March the 30th. Then your charisma is going to be increased, your confidence. You're going to attract more love and beauty into your life. So that is going to be your best day. Good luck, my dear Taurus. We have Gemini, Sun, Moon, or Rising. So, my dear Gemini, you have the full moon lunar eclipse in your 4th house. And that is actually quite a sensitive house. It's at the bottom of your chart. So, of course, Gemini, you are ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is also the ruler of the eclipse, and it's an eclipsed Mercury retrograde. Like, do we have a Gemini in the chat? Like, let me know how you're doing with this energy, because it is all squaring you by sign. You are one of the mutable signs, so this is a bit more difficult, honestly. And the 4th house, it is very emotional. It is your house of home and your family and your roots and your living situation. So with Mercury retrograde in the 10th, there can be a lot of changes going on at work, and somehow that is affecting your home bases. On the other hand, there can also be moves, like moving home. There can be a very big completion and your renovation. There might be some important family news that affects your reputation in the 10th. Definitely having to balance out home and career life. So you might be relocating for work. There might be like a shift in your family dynamics. Maybe you're becoming a parent. So for other people, if that doesn't resonate, it can be more about like, I can't live like this anymore, and something needs to change within my career, but also inside the home. This is a very big reality check and like a realignment that is taking place. Mercury retrograde, your ruler in the 10th house of career and reputation and your boss and your public direction. All the home changes are directly tied to the changes at work, and vice versa. So there can be a very big reversal or reassessment within your career, and your home is being affected by it, or vice versa. That is definitely a very, very big theme here. So let me know how that is going for you, Gemini. If we then look at the new moon for you, and the one in Pisces, then that is happening in your 10th house. So this is so beautifully like all connected to one another. It is like, how do I say it? More meaning and more purpose and more alignment is getting seated here in your 10th house of career. It's about purpose and your impact and the legacy you leave behind. And there can be a new job or a new role or like a new direction in your business, a new way of being seen. And there can be a little bit frustration coming in regards to your boss, or maybe even your father, or someone who has something to say over you. That is like the 10th house. Everything that happens in the 10th house, it is very, very publicly visible. So what you initiate now is going to grow very massively big over the next few months, as it will culminate in an eclipse in Pisces by the end of August. So whatever you change right now is going to see very big fruits and rewards by the end of August. So yeah, your career is changing, and also your home basis. So yeah, Gemini, for you, there are a lot of important dates, honestly. On March, this I also I all of the time I want to say Mars for March. I'm so sorry, you guys. This Mercury retrograde, it is a lot. But on March the 7th, you're going to have the Mercury Cazimi. So Sun conjunct Mercury in your 10th house. Important news from your boss. On the 9th, Mercury retrograde is going to trine Jupiter. That is like a supportive aspect. Then on the 17th, Mercury is going to conjunct the North Node. On the 15th, it will be conjunct Mars. Then there can be a little bit more of difficult energy. But then luckily, Gemini, on the 20th, it's going to station direct. So just watch the 15th a little bit. And if you can, just try to bite your tongue at work. That is going to help you. Good luck. We have Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising. All right, my dear Cancer, you are going to have the lunar eclipse in Virgo in your 3rd house. And that can be very, very busy. Or either you've been very, very busy and now you're like, okay, I am done with all of the busyness. I need to take it a little bit more slow right now. But the 3rd house, it deals with like a mental reset, and it can be emotional. It is about like your mindset, your daily environment. It is about siblings. Yeah, look at what's going on with your siblings and your neighbors. If you are traveling right now or want to travel in the upcoming weeks, then sorry, my dear Cancer, but you're going to have some delays here with Mercury retrograde in the 9th, an eclipse in the 3rd. These are the houses of travel, the 3rd and the 9th. So yeah, it's like there can be also a lot of contracts coming up, but I would advise you not to sign anything before like the 20th of March. Maybe some of you are gonna have to, but the 3rd house definitely deals with contracts, and it also deals with being on the road. Maybe some of you are gonna have to buy a new car. That is also possible with the opposition of Mercury retrograde here. Definitely let me know what is happening for you, my dear Cancer, because you are, of course, ruled by the moon as a Cancer. So full moon, lunar eclipses, they are of uttermost importance to you. So even bigger for you than the solar eclipse that you had in the 8th, because now it's lunar eclipse. It is way more emotionally revelatory, honestly. So there can be an important conversation, or conversations become way more emotional. Maybe your brother has some important news. Maybe the neighbors are moving or leaving. That is a possibility. But for you on a personal level, it is about ending a draining pattern in communication, or like releasing something within the conditioning of how you were taught to think and to speak. The 3rd house and also Virgo here, there can be a change in your schedule. You might need to repair a car. You might need to, yeah, finish a course or a study. That is also possible here. Definitely something in regards to important documents, or you're going to feel very, very called to speak the truth, something that you have been sitting on for quite some time. But definitely hone in on mental decluttering. That is going to help you massively. It is about purging things from your mind. Be careful about what you consume. Mercury is like in the 9th house, rewiring and restructuring your entire belief system. So you can feel right now a little bit Cancer, like, what is the truth? What do I actually believe? I don't know where I'm going. Like, what is the right path for me? There are a lot of unanswered questions right now. And that is okay. It's okay not to know the full truth right now. And the 9th house is also very spiritual. And definitely with having like Pisces on the 9th house cusp, that is like divine intervention with like protection of the gods combined here for you. And you can feel like now there's a lot of energy going on in those regards. And the 9th house, it also deals with like legal matters, travel plans, publishing something, teaching something. And it's so funny because my mom, she had to like, she's saying like, no, it's all okay. I am like approved at like, she had to go with her car to how do you call it curing in English? Oh, I was too like enthusiastic by pulling this comment up, but she just got her like car approved by people of the government and who are in an authority position that they can say like, okay, you can drive for another year. So for her, it's manifesting in those regards. So it's like always pretty spot on here. It's so funny. Yeah, technical inspection. Thank you so much, Stain. I'm very glad that I have some translators here in the chat. Thank you for the help. All right, so um of course, the positive part here also for you, my dear Cancer, is that on the 10th of March, Jupiter is going to turn direct in your sign. So that is like, again, blessings, but there can be like more emotional blessings. Yeah, your confidence can rise, your visibility, your physical vitality. All of that can feel like, oh, it's returning right now, and I am ready to move forward again. So yeah, this is actually beautiful. Just know also that on the 21st of March, Mars is going to trine Jupiter from your 9th to your 1st. So that is like a very powerful day. If you want to travel, then that is going to be better for you, honestly. It's after the retrograde. And of course, also on March the 18th, Venus is going to square Jupiter. So be careful about like overspending during that time. If you don't look at the new moon, it is going to be in Pisces in your 9th house. So I've already listed a lot of things of the 9th house and what it resembles, but it's going to be pretty close towards your MC. So it's definitely also about changing something within your career or within your reputation. There can be like some new educational path that is going to be beneficial for that and being implemented, all of the knowledge into your career. So it's good for like getting a certification or spiritual shamanic journeys, or publishing, teaching, coaching, sharing your wisdom and your knowledge. And some of you are gonna definitely want to travel during this time. So yeah, think big, think really bigger, because your life is getting larger. Everything is getting expanded here in the 9th house. So that can be pretty positive for you, my dear Cancer. So I wish you good luck. And we have Leo, Sun, Moon, or Rising. So you're going to have the full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo in your 2nd house. And that is your house of money, my dear Leo. So actually, pretty financial stuff going on now for you. The give and take axis is being massively triggered here. And the 2nd, of course, deals with like your possessions and how you make money, your streams of income, your self-worth, how the numbers on your bank account are intertwined with your sense of worth. And there is a big release. Whenever we see full moon lunar eclipses, there might be either a big sum of money coming in, but because it's a culmination and a release, you might also need to take into account that you might have like a big sum or an unexpected bill coming up. That is also definitely a possibility here. It is about budgeting, it is about security, and there can be like a financial turning point, a bill, a payment, or a payment issue that is getting resolved. There can be renegotiations at your work, a new compensation plan, or like also a moment where you just simply realize that you've outgrown a certain financial dependency with the whole Pisces stellium in the 8th house. Mercury, the ruler of this eclipse, is there. And when it retrogrades in the 8th, there can either be a big tax refund, or there's something changing or being reassessed within your shared resources. Can also be playing out in your partner's money here, the Mercury retrograde. Look at your taxes, your debts, your insurances, your inheritances, settlements, psychological entanglements. All of that is part of the 8. So what's yours, what's mine, what's shared, what's owed, what's hidden, what needs to be audited, what needs to be rearranged. With the Mercury retrograde here, there can definitely be like issues in paperwork and you getting a little bit frustrated by that. Be sure not to miss any important info. Not the best time to sign a new contract in regards to money right now. Wait until the Mercury retrograde is over and check all of your invoices. Review like your automatic subscriptions. Maybe you need to stop some automated like subscriptions. Maybe there's like leakages, unseen leakages within your financial realms going on. And now Mercury is giving you like ample of time to look into that and to correct that. So, of course, your chart ruler is the sun because you're a Leo and it's also in the eighth house. You're gonna have a sun trine Jupiter here within 3 days. That is gonna be very, very beautiful. So, on the 6th, 7th of March, something behind the scenes can be eliminated in which you like can have like a windfall of money or like a little sum coming through other people. With the sun in the eighth, it's also very beautiful here to do therapy and shadow work, have like a very deep conversation. Um, it's about vulnerability. So the eighth house is definitely being highlighted here a lot for you. So very, very financial. And then, of course, on the 18th, we're seeing a new moon in your eighth house as well. So you already have like a clue about what all of that means. But the new moon is, of course, seeds that are being planted in those regards. And also, when we have like Mars in the eighth house, and for you, that is going to start on the 2nd of March, we can find that there are like some kind of like a little bit frustration or conflict going on in regards to what our partner is doing with like shared funds. When Mars travels through the eighth house, there can be some kind of notion of like loss of money through your partner. That is definitely a possibility. And it's also a possibility for Virgo. But yeah, look at your shared investments and maybe look at what needs to be rearranged in some kind of way and be careful not to lose any money because of your partner, or just like maybe you're going to need to tone them down a little bit or have an open conversation about all of that. And the new moon in that is really like then by exposing or like by talking, because why I'm saying this, maybe I need to explain it better. Mercury is on top of Mars. That in itself is very sharp. It can be sharp words, but when it's in the eighth house, that goes really deep. So there can be a rather intense conversation going on with your partner in regards to money. If you need to get like a tax refund and you're not getting it, you can have like fights over that. It all depends on your natal chart, of course, but still, when there's a new moon, there's a new seed being planted in the eighth house themes. So that's trust, it is intimacy, it is vulnerability. You might even pay off all the debt. You might invest in something, you might receive support, you might release a fear. The eighth house rules over a lot of things, and it is actually about empowerment. So, yeah, do not have like vague agreements now with other people in regards to money. You need to speak out your expectations. If you're going to be in this energy of, oh no, we're going to figure it out later, and I'm in my Pisces denial, then you're going to shoot yourself in the foot. So I'm just like warning you for that actually. The sun is going to trine Jupiter on the 5th and the 6th of March. Then the sun is going to enter into Aries on the 20th. And it's going to also trine Jupiter already now as we speak almost. So these are actually very beneficial days for you. Okay, I'm just like quickly looking at the comments. And thank you guys all so much for like giving me feedback on all of that. We're going to switch over to the Virgo risings and the sun signs as well, because dear Lord, my dear fellow Virgo risings, how are you guys doing with the energy? Just know whatever is being culminated right now got seeded off the solar eclipse last year in September. What has been changing since September? Probably a whole lot, right? It is happening inside of your sign. It is in your first house. It rules over your body, your vitality, your identity, how you look, so your appearance, and also the way how you move through the world and people's like first impression of you. And of course, we've got Millie in the chat, and Millie has some Virgo energy. So let me know if we have some other Virgos in the chat as well. I'm very interested in what is happening in your lives right now. It can be rather positive, but still, it's a release. It's an emotional culmination. Emotions tend to rise high, and it can also be like about happy tears. So it's like a version of you completes something you started in September, now reaches a very big milestone. So of course you have all this energy in the seventh house, so there might be something coming up in regards to relationships, especially Virgo. You are one of the signs that has like the most highest probability of bumping into like an ex from the past. Be careful not to get stuck into old patterns. Be sure to open up your heart for new people that can come in. And with Mars entering that house, there can actually be a little bit more of frustration being found in those realms. So, yeah, it is not easy. And like we have Laura, her husband is Virgo rising. We have my mother, who is a fellow Virgo rising. And I see other Virgo risings here in the chat. And yes, Monica says, lots of fog and emotions. Yeah, like it is unreal. Wow, we have a lot of Virgos here. That is so cool. I always feel like I can speak even more freely about my fellow rising sign, and that's done like resonating with you guys a lot. So, all right, we with this whole Pisces stellium in your seventh, the wind sometimes like gets knocked out of you, and it is sometimes done by other people, and it is not to punish you, but it's actually to force you to make a reset, to reboot your identity, to look at where you have been overgiving yourself. I know, my dear Virgo, you are like a fixer and you want to fix everything and like clean up other people's mess. And sometimes you do that to not be confronted with your own emotions. We're just gonna say it as it is. And now you are being confronted with it in a quite big way with this whole Pisces stellium here in your seventh. And other people are such a big mirror to you right now. And when you have eclipses in your sign, that can already give a little bit more stress, more fatigue, feeling like overstimulated. Your relationships can feel a little bit chaotic. Maybe you're a little bit tired of them right now. That is a possibility. Just know that it's like temporarily. But with Mars in the seventh, there's going to be some feisty communication here for you, my dear Virgo, especially around the 12th and the 15th. If you're single, let's talk about the single Virgos. Then you can really attract someone that is like soulmate, that is very destined, that is like, yeah. With the North Node Mars conjunction at 8 degrees, a Scorpio degree, there might be an intense destined encounter with a male coming onto your path. If you are a male Virgo, then you can also have destined encounters with a female, but you've probably already had that because Venus already conjuncted the North Node in your seventh house. But still, prioritize rest. You are being so massively upgraded right now, and there is like, we need to reduce friction. We need to work smarter, not harder. And we can lean on friends, on mentors, on people we trust, with Jupiter stationing direct in our 11th house, trining this whole 7th house stellium. And definitely, if you're about to connect with a lot of friends, because the energy moves forward again, then your friends can also introduce you to a new partner with the trine to the 7th house stellium. So also know that partners are now like, there's like a culmination and release, and there's like a receipt. Virgo loves the receipts. There's a receipt of how other people really affect your physical health, and how there's a lot of energy leaks, especially in partnerships, and how that is actually emptying you out, and how it is draining. So if you feel that, then you need to really put up new boundaries. Yeah, you're also, of course, ruled by Mercury. I didn't even mention that already, but you have like an eclipse in your sign, and your eclipse is like your ruler is eclipsed by this full moon, and it is retrograde. It is like, whew, a lot to deal with. And yes, Laura says, I hope my Virgo sun and moon meets a nice girl. You probably mean your Virgo sun. Yeah, sun. I got it, Laura. So yeah, that is probably very much in the cards here for him, definitely. But Mercury retro in the seventh, romantic partners, business partners. It's about clients, collaborators, therapists, people that you have a one-on-one connection with. And there is like things from the past catching back up again, and all of the old agreements, they are like renegotiated in some kind of way. But with like the famous Pisces energy here, there are like a little bit of mixed signals or misunderstandings, or you want to help them but you feel blocked, and now you need to draw a boundary, but you're a little bit afraid because other people are so used of you to help them, and you want to feel useful, but you're now being blocked in some kind of way. And there's like a lot of funny, weird energy going on here. So let me know if that resonates for all of you. But definitely, there can also be like a little bit of like passive aggressive moments from other people coming in. So yeah, it is quite a lot, honestly, my dear Virgo. You can, on a personal level and a positive personal level, reach a major milestone. Take extra care of your belly, your intestines, your gut. That is all ruled by Virgo. Also, there can be a whole like new way of coming forward and showing yourself. You can change your hair color, you can change your clothes, your appearance, and there's a whole new identity coming forward. And now you need to look at the seventh house, at how people are reacting to the new version of you. And if they're not approving, then you might need to cut them loose, honestly, because then they're like siphoning your energy, and they need to be like supportive. And of course, yeah, they need to be like giving you some critic from time to time. Us Virgo risings are quite well at giving critic to other people, so we might need to appreciate that from other people as well. But definitely very big emphasis on partnership, and there can be a lot of good things coming through as well, as Venus and the Sun and the positive planets are there as well. It's like depending greatly on what it does in your own natal chart. Look at your own natal chart. Does it make squares? Then it's a little bit harder. Does it make trines? Then it's flowing positive energy. So it's more difficult to do these general predictions, as it will be very, very different for anyone. And you can definitely book in a session if you want to know more about that. Overall, Jupiter direct in the 11th is going to be welcoming change also for us, as it's going to sextile our sun, moon, or rising. So, yeah. Like Millie says, Astrid was subtle with that cut them loose. Yeah, like subtle is definitely not my middle name as an Aries. So I try to be diplomatic, but subtle, no, it is never going to work for me. So good luck, my dear Virgo. Ah, okay. I forgot the new moon. So the new moon, of course, in Pisces, it is like highlighting all of the themes that I've just mentioned of the seventh house and planting like a very big seed in that. So this one is definitely going to put a very big emphasis on like new partnerships, new clients coming in, and like honestly, with the Mercury retrograde in the seventh house, I had to reschedule a lot of clients forgetting the time, getting lost in space, even me preparing like different things that are not 100% correct. Is like a lot of things that like there is funky energy here in the seventh house. But when this new seed is getting planted here, that is going to be way better, and also important for your finances, as Venus is then going to be in your eighth house as well. There is so much energy in the eighth. You can bump into someone new who is going to teach you the deeper layers of intimacy, and you're going to share more with them. That is definitely a possibility now with Saturn and Neptune out of that house. Still like a sledgehammer. Yeah, that is like almost what my boyfriend tells me all of the time. That is so funny, Macmillan. He would definitely approve your comment. So, all right, good luck, my dear Virgo. We have Libra, Sun, Moon, or Rising. All right, dear Libra, you are going to have the full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo in your 12th house. So that is a more like private house. It is more quiet and it rules over your sleep, your nervous system. There can be signs of burnout. Be very careful to listen to that. You might want to isolate, retreat a little bit more. Go on a spiritual retreat. That would also be beneficial and helpful for you, because there's a Mercury retrograde in your sixth house, so that is saying that you need to like shift something within your daily environment, and maybe just need to like book a holiday and just release some stress and dive into spiritual practices, private healing, behind the scenes, really diving into your subconscious patterns. So something culminates here or gets exposed within your subconscious or behind the scenes, and that is like forcing you to take your well-being seriously. If you feel like your energy is crashing, if you suffer a little bit from insomnia, or if you have like a mental overload moment, that is like most definitely connected to your work or your daily routine. There is some kind of a peak in stress and realization probably that you have been carrying way too much for way too long. So yeah, it's showing you right now, and it's confronting you with where your energy and your daily systems in which you operate, where that is leaking. So there is a sudden need here for retreat and rest, and really tap into like the divine realms and meditation, and cut out like the daily habits that are not helping you or that are not beneficial. The ruler of this eclipse, Mercury, is in your sixth, and there is a very big focus on pets and co-workers and your stress levels and how that's adding to your health or how that's affecting your health. And yeah, the 12th and the 6th, it is about balancing out mental and physical health. This one, it is not so easy having eclipses in the 12th, honestly, but you can feel like you need so much more time to sleep, and you can have problems even a little bit with your memory. You're dealing with a lot of rescheduling like right now, or having like delays within your daily environment, or maybe there are like mix-ups, or be careful about making mistakes at work as well. Mercury retrograde in the sixth, there can be like, it can feel like as soon as you enter the workplace or your work office, that is like your head is like, no, we're not doing this today. And it can be very hard. Like your mind is a little bit lost in space. It is easily being like wrapped up in like a mistake at your job. And maybe that causes a little bit frustration with your colleagues as well. Mars is entering your sixth house. Be careful of like overworking, because Mars in the sixth house can also give like inflammation, and Pisces rules the feet. If you encounter any like sore thing regarding your feet, then you might need to just like take it slow down a little bit. Mars in the sixth can be beneficial for getting a lot of work done, but now here with the Mercury retrograde, you lose a little bit of Mars's positive qualities in the sixth, and can definitely feel very overwhelming and overburdening right now. Your chart ruler Venus is luckily also in the sixth, and it's going to move into the seventh house soon. That is going to be very beneficial for relationships and one-on-one connections. So yeah, Saturn and Neptune are there as well. So look through the romantic fog if you were to enter some new relationship. Do not idealize people. Be careful of like your rose-colored glasses. Having your chart ruler conjunct Saturn and Neptune in your seventh house is going to be quite interesting to see what plays out. For some of you, you're going to take your relationship to a whole new level you never done before. Others are going to break free and are going to separate, or maybe some kind of deception can be brought to light as well. It all depends on your natal chart, of course. If you then look at the new moon that is happening in your 6th house, so luckily 2 days after the new moon, Mercury is going to station direct. You're going to receive some very important news within your career, or if you're struggling with your health, you can have a very important announcement of your doctor. Get a second opinion. Do not believe everything your doctor is telling you right now. And I know that sounds a little bit, I'm just like, not really for like the classic medicine. I know a lot of you aren't either, but still, if you even visit an alternative homeopath or acupuncturist or someone else, make sure you visit multiple people. If you suffer with anything right now, Pisces, it can be very, very difficult to diagnose. So do not let you overwhelm you. Get multiple people to see before making like a decision, and wait until the end of March to gain more clarity in all those realms. 6th house also deals with pets, so might need to take care of the health of your pet as well. That is also one of the possibilities. The new moon in the 6th house is really like a whole new daily routine that is getting kicked off, and implementing new small daily consistent habits that are going to add to your well-being. So good luck, my dear Libra. All right, we have Scorpio, Sun, Moon, or Rising. So, my dear Scorpios, you are going to have the full moon lunar eclipse in your 11th house. So, the 11th, and the fact that it's a release, there can be something in your friendships coming up. And it just activates the part of the chart that rules over your collaborations, your networks, your friends, your long-term goals, and something that you have been developing since September of 2025 is now reaching some kind of culmination. There can be a shift in your circle, in your friend group, in your audience. You might go viral on social media. You can have an increase in people who are watching you. You can have like a new vision for the future. And yeah, Mercury is, of course, the ruler, and is retrograde in your 5th house. One of the better Mercury retrogrades and places to have it for you, my dear Scorpio. It's in the 5th house of fun. It is trining you by sign. It is in a fellow water sign, so it's actually quite beneficial. And I think you're gonna bump into some very big solution in some kind of way. So do we have a Scorpio in the chat? John, I can see John is a Scorpio. I think you're gonna have some very big decision or like solution, because Mercury is going to conjunct with your chart ruler Mars. It's gonna do that on the 13th and the 15th as well. Very important energy. You're gonna have a very big breakthrough. And Mercury retro in the 5th is also about like looking back at passion projects from the past. It is about your leisure time, at the things that are making you feel happy. Things get born in the 5th. If you've been trying to make a baby, then you're going to receive the news that you succeeded in that mission. The 5th house is the house where things are getting born. And it is kind of fun, but do you make enough time for fun? Focus on friendship. Focus on who's really your real ally. And 5th house is also about self-expression. So you can ask yourself, like, who are my people? And you might change a dynamic within your friendship. You might leave a certain group. You might launch something new, a new passion project, and really look at what made your inner child happy back in the past, because 5th house is the inner child. So it is definitely about leisure time and doing all the things that make you smile and laugh. And it can Scorpio, you're also one of the signs that is going to bump into excess, like attractions from the past can be brought back up again here. And the 5th house is the house of romance, of course. So watch March the 13th. Mars is going to be conjunct the North Node. And then on the 15th, it will be conjunct Mercury. And then on the 21st, it's going to trine Jupiter in your 9th house. Very positive if you want to make a travel after the Mercury retrograde. Then, of course, you're going to have a new moon in the same house here in the 5th house. So that is also going to trine you. Very positive new seed that is being planted here. There can be new romance, recommitment in love, pregnancy. It can even play out in the lives of your children. But might also launch a new creative project or return to something that you really loved from the past. If you are an artist and you need to perform, then that is like very, very positive energy here in the month of March. So just know, like, your happiness, it is not a distraction. Here it says that in March, it's going to be your path forward. Pleasure is productive. And use your creative voice. It's gonna bring a lot of destined new things into your life. So good luck, my dear Scorpio. We have Sagittarius and Moon Rising. You're gonna have this full moon lunar eclipse in your 10th house. So very striking. The 10th house is really about your career, your reputation. It is also the house of authority. It is the house of the father, of your boss. And some Sages are gonna be like, well, F it. I am gone. I am going to change my job. I am going to change my career. I am going to change my entire field because I want to be my own boss. That is definitely possible here. But if you do like your job, and I hope you do, then you can get actually a very big promotion here. You can be like up leveled. This is like an eclipse. It is a full moon on steroids. So you might reach a major milestone in your career. And yeah, also for you, pleasure is also productive for you, my dear Sag. I know I said it for Scorpio, but you have Saturn and Neptune in the 5th house. I need to be careful not to neglect joy right now because you're focused so strongly on the 10th house of career and the 4th house of home and family that you can feel a little bit refrained by Saturn in your 5th house. You might need to really come in touch with your inner child and do not let elders or superiors or bosses take out the fun in your life. No, that is something you need to be a bit more mindful for the next 2 years with Saturn in the 5th. So, of course, the 10th house, it is also, of course, your, like, it's your professional life. It is your vocation. It is also your reputation. And of course, Mercury retrograde as the ruler of this eclipse, and it's in the 4th house. So where do I belong? And a lot of people, a lot of Sages are looking back at their patterns of upbringing and how that actually also shaped their professional path. Maybe some of you are doing jobs to make your parents proud, and now you'll be like, oh wow, but this is having such a big draining effect on my energy, and something might need to shift in that. Mercury retro in the 4th can also be about a shift within family dynamics, moving back to a place you've already lived before, moving back to your parents, someone moving out, someone from the past moving back in. These are all possibilities here. But definitely there is something changing within your role in your career, and that has a very big effect on your home life. There can be very good news here, a promotion, a new job, becoming self-employed, working from inside of the home, all possibilities here. And the good news here for you, my dear Sag, is that Jupiter, which is your chart ruler, is going to move forward on the 10th of March. It's going to do that within your 8th house of finances and investments and lucky windfalls of money and tax returns and like insurances, inheritances. And it's all going to try in this whole stellium in your 4th house. Some of you are going to sell their home. And by that, with that money, you're going to invest in something else. Some of you are going to inherit some money of your parents, unfortunately. I hope they're gonna be like giving you a gift, and that it's not because of like passing away. Because a 10th house eclipse, that can be like a change in your social status and something with your father also coming forward. But of course, full moon lunar eclipses are more tied to the mother. But still, the 4th house of the mother and the 10th house of the father are strongly affected here, and they're trining your chart ruler in the 8th. Definitely growth in your shared finances. Maybe it's playing out in your partner's life. That is also a possibility. So then you're going to have a new moon in Pisces, of course, also within your 4th house. So that is like a whole new Change in your living situation. Some of you are going to be selling, buying property, renovating, restructuring your home. You're going to receive support from um, your partner, your family member. All of that is actually very, very beneficial energy. So, some of you are going to kick something off that is going to be strongly completed within 6 months of time in regards to your home and family. So, yeah, your foundation is really going to determine your future, and then security is actually something you can create, and you're going to be quite, yeah, becoming like confronted with that. Mars in the fourth house can give a little bit of conflict with the one you live with together. I'm just like saying that. Be careful about that, not to hurt someone with inside of your home here with Mars conjunct Mercury in the fourth. Do not fight at home. There can be a little bit more frustration. So good luck, my dear Sag. We have Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising. You're gonna have the full moon, lunar eclipse, and Virgo in your ninth. It is the house of expansion, travel, philosophy, legal matters, education, belief system. So yeah, there's also, if you want to announce something or publish something, you can really do that right now. So a very big culmination into the ninth house themes. Maybe you're returning from a journey. That is also possible. Mercury, the ruler of the eclipse, is of course retrograde in your third house. So it is not just about these beautiful, distant, new horizons, and by that, like expanding your view on the world. It is also very much here about documents, decisions, important conversations, the logistics of life, how you let your voice being heard. All of that is going to determine where you're going next. You're actually reviewing studies or old programs, old certifications. If you need to complete an old study, you can do that right now with Mercury retrograde. You might also be needing to handling like your visas, like your visa if you want to travel, or legal paperwork or contracts, applications. You might also be needing to rethink major travel or when you want to publish certain things. And there is also by that here an indication of a very big redefinition in what you believe in. So, where are you being called to? And which mindset must you release? And which new one do you need to adopt to make this big change and big moves right now? Having an eclipse in the ninth is really about releasing old fears, releasing old limiting beliefs and paths that actually no longer feel meaningful. All of that is like closing out. With this energy, you can also very well teach something new, study something new. The ninth house is now is house of teaching, is also spirituality. It's also law and legality. You can, if you are in a court case, that can see a wrapping up right now. If you are traveling under this energy, then you're gonna see travel delays for sure. And all of this is really indicating a major shift in your fate and your purpose and your direction in life. And there can be a very big, important conversation happening here with this whole third house energy that is completely going to change your long term future and your long term thinking as well. So, of course, Saturn, your chart ruler, is now in the fourth house. It is squaring you by sign. This is a whole restructuring of your emotional landscape together with Neptune. Neptune has been dissolving a lot of family dynamics, and now Saturn is giving you a reality check in that. The fourth is about your home, your house, your roots, your emotional security, and all of that is being massively rewritten right now for the next 36 years. So you're definitely feeling the weight. Venus is gonna hit your chart ruler, the sun is gonna hit Saturn. Aries season is going to kick off in your fourth house by the end of March. There's going to be a lot of intensity going on in your fourth, my dear Capricorn. Prepare yourself for that. Be careful of fire at home, burning yourself while cooking. If you feel angry, it might be best to like move inside of your home do not go like sit on the sofa pissed off, because that is then like gonna implode inside. uh this whole Aries stellium in your fourth can also be like a very big move, or planning for a new home, or starting your own business from inside of the home, because it opposes the 10th house. You might also be selling your home, or renovating, or restructuring your property. All of that can definitely happen. Very big month ahead here, with April also around the corner, of course. You're also going to have a new moon in the sign of Pisces, and it's going to be very closely towards the IC. So the IC is really the foundation of the chart. It is the most sensitive part of the chart. So we have your chart ruler there, we have Neptune there, Venus is going to cross over there, then we have all of the other planets that are going to cross over there soon. So from now until actually the end of April and to May, all of the energy is concentrated at the bottom of your chart. It is inward. It is in your mind. It is in your family. It is in your emotions. Your emotions are going to get quite loud over the next 6 to 8 weeks. I'm already like telling you that. You might buy a new car with the new moon in the third. You might start a new course. You might build a new website, build a new business platform, create a whole new communication strategy. The tone of your voice is becoming softer, but you have Mercury, Mars in the third house together. Be careful about how you articulate certain words. Be sure to do it in a compassionate way, because around the 12th and also the 15th, there might be a little bit more frustration being noticed within your voice. So be a bit mindful about that. It's like your voice is your vehicle, how, and it's going to determine how you roll through life right now. That is like all of the third house things combined here in one sentence. Your ideas are going to move your life very much forward right now. And the way you think is really going to determine your destiny with all of these planets conjunct North nodes. So maybe you need to work on your mindset. With the full moon lunar eclipse in the ninth, you need to shed certain beliefs and really learn how to soften the communication even more strongly. And that is going to really help you over time. So good luck, my dear Capricorn. We have Aquarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising, and I'm just looking at the comments and like, what's up, John? I cannot say that word here on YouTube. I really have to refrain myself from that sometimes. So, but let me know what you mean by that. Okay, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising. This month you're gonna have, you're gonna kick off the month with a full moon lunar eclipse in your 8th house. A very, very financial turning point here. And yes, Stain, it is your turn again. So very, very financial axis here. The 2nd and the 8th house axis is being massively triggered here. So yeah, it is a bit more intense, because the 8th house is the house of intensity. So it is about shared resources, seeing a culmination in that. It is your house of debt, taxes, investments, your partner's money. Can be about payouts, insurance, emotional entanglements. And it's actually your financial, energetic, and psychological intertwinements with other people. Look at your entanglements. Look at how that is siphoning your self-worth. Look at what other people bring to the table. Is the give and take axis in balance? Do people add to your frequency? Are they stealing your energy? These are all themes of the 2nd and the 8th house axis that are needing to be very closely looked at here. Mercury is the ruler of this eclipse. It's in your 2nd house of money. It is going retrograde. If you buy something, keep the receipts. It might not be working well, especially if it's something technological. You might have unexpected expenses. Mars is going to enter your 2nd house. That does indicate sometimes impulsive spending. So you need to be a little bit careful. Look at what your partner is doing with your finances as well. But here for you, Aquarius, it's mostly going to be you that needs to be held accountable, because all of the Pisces energy is in your second house. So I'm just like saying that honestly. But with this one, it is a release, it is a culmination in the eight. You might pay off a debt, you might restructure it, you might be focused on insurance matters, on tax payments, on maybe it's happening in your partner's life, and there's a financial change that is somehow affecting you. There can definitely also be like a payout, a refund, a settlement, renegotiation of your salary or your own rates. You're definitely rethinking your own self-worth and how that's being intertwined with your finances and the prices that you set for yourself. This is also beneficial energy to like look at and cut hidden expenses, reassess your self-worth, hone in on your own skills and talents. Your own skills and talents can actually be used as a new stream of income. So much destined energy within your second house. It is unreal. Something is going on in regards to money. So it's not just material, it's also psychological. If you are struggling with a scarcity mindset, then Mercury retrograde right now is asking you to release that. And I'm not saying release your scarcity mindset and go spend all of your money, because some Aquariuses are going to want to do that with Mars in the second house. No, I'm definitely saying like release the scarcity mindset, know that you have enough, know that you are enough. Look at where you have certain automated payments going on, like for certain streaming platforms or other hidden costs, and really release and purge that. All of the monetary leaks in your system needs to be healed and fixed now. You have the time with Mercury retrograde to really do that. So also look at situations where you give more than you receive. What are you ready to like stop carrying? Thank you so much, Laura. I am happy, grateful, I am abundant. That is gonna be the mantra to rewrite the whole mindset here with Mercury retrograde. And yes, Stain, I like that destined money. Yeah, don't we all like that? Of course. Destined money. Yes. There's also destined lessons in regards to money, so that you really know or get to know your own value. So do not go on the impulsive spending fee, Stain. Otherwise, I'm not gonna be able to help you. Yeah, the Page of Pentacles. That is beautiful addition, John. Thank you. So the page is the beginning, and this Mercury retrograde wants to make you the King of Pentacles. So you might need to look at where you need to budget a little bit more, or where you can restructurize something within those realms. Then you're gonna have, of course, a new moon in the sign of Pisces in your second as well. And of course, Uranus is your chart ruler, and it's wrapping up its final degrees of Taurus in your fourth house. So luckily, it is sextile in that. Look, the new moon in Pisces in your second house of money is actually sextiling your ruler, Uranus, in the fourth. Some of you are going to have some residual income of setting something new up in regards to online platforms from inside of your home, and it's going to be beneficial for you. So really look into that. But definitely do an money audit, and you might renegotiate a very important contract, and here you can then implement that and sign something after the 20th. Wait until Mercury retrograde is over. But definitely there can be some conflicts actually over renegotiating that with Mercury retrograde conjunct Mars. So be sure not to fight over money, but it's definitely wanting to like have a better system here in regards to money with the full moon lunar eclipse. And then the new moon is really like adding a new stream of income. It can be a new job, a new role. It's about like financial independence also. Your value is rising, and your resources are going to follow your confidence automatically. So that is going to be very, very positive. And something else, Mercury. Yeah, I've had Mercury, Venus. Yeah, Venus is in your third. That is actually also helpful for like signing a contract. So it's also beautiful that like during the full moon lunar eclipse on the 3rd, a day later, Venus is going to sextile Uranus. So there's going to be like some good news coming through in regards to either money or females inside of your home or that you live with together. So yeah, mark your calendar and let me know what is happening. And thank you guys all so much. And some comments in the chat. You guys are a little bit, how do we say that in Dutch? We say you're a sloeber. A sloeber is like a little bit like Mercury, a little bit trickery, but also funny. All right. We have Pisces, Sun, Moon, or Rising. The last but not least, and of course, dear Pisces, let me know how you guys are doing with this beautiful Pisces portal that we're in right now. We have an eclipse in the sign of Virgo, of course, and the ruler is, of course, Mercury, and it's retrograde in your sign. So, my dear Pisces, you are also one of the stars of today's show, alongside with Virgo, of course. And you're having this full moon lunar eclipse in your seventh. And your seventh, of course, deals with partnerships and with commitments and with clients and contracts and your one-on-one dynamics. That is actually quite interesting. And Guinness Girl says, Pisces Sun, Virgo Rising. I got this. Like, I love your confidence, Guinness Girl, because that must be a lot to deal with right now for like having a Pisces Sun and being a Virgo Rising. I can actually agree to that. I have Virgo Rising with the Pisces stellium, so a lot of Pisces planets as well. I actually feel a little bit more emotional, honestly. I can feel like I can cry in the blink of an eye if I feel I feel like more emotionally receptive, definitely. And if someone says something beautiful to me right now, other people, seventh house, if they mirror beauty, love, unconditional love, or say something that is actually positive criticism towards me, I feel like my heart is bursting open right now. It is a lot, right? Not even gonna lie, yes, it is a lot. Psychic overload for sure. And no, she's not lacking confidence at all. It is very, very beautiful to watch, actually. And hey, Tammy, hi, so glad you're also here. So yeah, it is a lot right now for Pisces to deal with, honestly. Not lying here, not making it more beautiful than it is, but hone in on your talents. Let your psychic antennas go through the roof. It is okay. It is okay that you're so sensitive. It is beautiful that you're so sensitive. Like, I know a lot of people are like, oh my God, Pisces, they are so emotional and they are like over emotional. And I'm like, no, maybe you are under emotional. So it is okay. Just feel it all. Just let it in. It is fine. It is really telling you where some things might need to be readjusted, where you might need to draw a little bit more boundaries. And of course, you can feel right now like, am I in or am I out? Definitely, if you're already in a relationship and you're closely looking at the bonds, if they are nourishing you or if they are draining you. And of course, with Mercury retrograde in the seventh, it's not just like what's happening with them, it's also about what is changing within you. So there's a shift somehow in how you show up and how you protect your energy and how much you are willing to tolerate within relationships. With a full moon lunar eclipse, a very big release, there might be some Pisces, especially Pisces risings, that are going to break up. That is possible. If you're single, you might draw someone new in. But definitely, boundaries are so important right now, and it's about like these major agreements, and something is reshaping your way of commitment right now. And like think back to the spring of 2025, during last Pisces season, we had also a full moon lunar eclipse and also Mercury retrograde that ended up in Pisces. It started in Aries, now it's fully in Pisces, but still, there can be recurrent themes being kicked off again here. And a lot of Pisces are feeling right now like, I cannot do relationships the old way anymore. So there are going to be endings, there are going to be renewals, there is like a redefinition of commitments. Your clients might be changing, important contracts might be changing. You are now fully realizing over the next couple of weeks, and it might not be today yet, but you're realizing who is aligned with your future. And you're actually choosing a lot of solitude over the chaos, and you want clarity over fantasy. And that is like a whole new rewiring of your identity right now. And look, you guys, if you're a Pisces, Mars is going to enter into your sign here. It's already gonna enter by the eclipse because it jumps in on the 2nd of March. So it is quite I'm gonna just look at the comments. Like Pisces sun and rising Virgo moon. My husband told me he didn't want to be with me anymore 2 days ago. I'm heartbroken. Oh, I feel so sad to read this. Star Lily 888. How difficult it is right now. You are way more sensitive to the emotional undercurrents of other people, to your own emotional feelings right now. You're way more open. Your energetic boundaries, they're very porous. Everything just comes in way bigger. It's felt way bigger right now. If you look at the chart, if I can try to mend a little bit of your broken heart, a full moon lunar eclipses, they can also be time of like setting oneself free, a very big release in your life. Maybe someone new is going to enter in onto your path that is now more destined to be with you. That is definitely a very, very big possibility. Yeah, you're focused on rewiring your identity. Maybe you have been overgiving. Maybe you've been stuck in savior complexes or in trying to like or victim mentality, and maybe there was codependency in your relationship, and maybe something needs to be rebooted or upgraded right now. But I'm very, very sad to read that, and I wish you a lot of like inner peace, and I'm sending a lot of healing energy towards you, Star Lily. I know breaking up can be very, very hard to do. And yes, Guinness girl says old way of relationships. It's more like situationships. It is exactly what I've been telling myself. No more of I take no prisoners. That is like Guinness girl. That is a mic drop. That is, yes, exactly. So, of course, a full moon lunar eclipse here with the Mercury retrograde in your sign. There is a very big reboot of yourself and of your health, and especially your mental health and your confidence. There can be a little bit of like confusion within your confidence, but there's definitely some kind of like a surge of like instinct and self-protection. And with Mars here, you're becoming more assertive and more decisive, and you get like a boost in energy. You're going to be more willing to really act upon what you feel so deeply in your gut in regards to other people, the Virgo eclipse. So this is really the moment where you need to stop waiting for someone else to choose you. You need to choose yourself right now. And it can be hard with a lunar eclipse in one of the angular houses. It affects your personality, it affects your home situation, and it affects your career and reputation. And on the 13th, Mars is going to be conjunct the North Node. That can be a very distant moment of like a reboot in your identity. Maybe some male is going to help you reboot that in some kind of way, or you're going to have the energy to do that. And then on the 15th, Mars is going to be conjunct Mercury retrograde. So that can be like very reactive conversations, conversations, getting out of hand, impulsive decisions, rushing. Be careful, slow down. It is a day to pause and to revise everything. Do not push harder. However, if you then look at the new moon for your sign, of course, it's happening in your sign. So that is rather striking here. This is a very, very beautiful new seed that is actually being planted right now in your sign. Yeah, it is like very important. It is like new intentions, a full personal reboot, a new identity coming forth after the purging of the full moon lunar eclipse. And you can feel more motivated to look at your health, to engage in a new mission, even a new relationship, a new direction in your life. And it's sextiling Uranus on your EC. So it's definitely also connected to your home in some kind of way. The reset here, it is not going to be quiet, which is normally the case in Pisces. Here it's going to be more loud and more liberating. So there can be a very big breakthrough in how you think, especially in how you think about like what happened during the full moon lunar eclipse. Give yourself a little bit of time. 2 days later here, Mercury is going to station direct in your sign. If you have anything between 7 or 10 degrees of Pisces, you're going to receive such a important conversation, a message, a phone call, an email that can change the entire destiny and course of your life. That is going to be wild for some Pisces. So just know that this new moon, sextile Uranus, authenticity with how you express yourself, you do not need permission to begin again. You actually outgrown the old version of yourself, and actually your new future, Uranus here, it starts with a whole new sense of self-trust. So yeah, of course, your ruler, Neptune, is in the second house of finances. The sun is going to illuminate that on the 20th of March. Be careful and look at what's happening with your finances. It's going to be really illuminated during this time. Also, on the 10th of March, Jupiter, your other chart ruler, like your traditional chart ruler, Neptune is the modern day chart ruler. So so Jupiter is going to station direct on the 10th of March in your fifth house of fun. Passion, romance, pleasure, children, self-expression, joy. Your joy becomes more integrated again. Mars is going to trine it. Jupiter is going to trine it. The nodes, it's like very beneficial energy. So whatever gets released now in a rather emotional kind of way, it's going to be replaced by something so much better. So look at the 9th. Mercury is going to trine Jupiter. The 29th, Mars is then going to trine Jupiter. The 21st of March, Mars trine Jupiter. That is going to be a very, very important day. You're going to have some kind of magnetic confidence. A lot of momentum is going to start to build in your creativity, in your fun, in your romance. There's going to be some kind of joyful expansion. So happiness, it is not a luxury. It is actually going to be your fuel for the month ahead. And really look at the past and how you need to release all of that before Aries season kicks off and the equinox happens and spring sprung, and like that is going to be very, very important. Rest, rewind, unwind, tap into your intuition and your emotion. Focus on spiritual practices. Watch your tongue around the 12th until the 15th of March. You're going to be a little bit more feisty in your communication, and people are not used of that, like with you. So, yeah, it's very interesting. You're actually learning that your softness needs boundaries right now. Your intuition actually needs a little bit of structuring, and other people are making you aware of that. And your love needs standards, and you are upgrading your standards, and you actually need a life, or your life needs someone who chooses you first. And I know you always give, overgive, try to sometimes save people or be saved, or like it is something you need to be very, very aware of. So once Mercury goes direct on the 20th of March, you're going to have a full like forward momentum building. And you're actually not losing anything that wasn't meant for you. You're actually shedding all of the blocks and all of the blocks that actually created this older version of you and that now needs to be released, because there's like a new one ready to fully rise within your intuition. You can feel it coming quite strongly. And Guinness girl, Astrid, it's like you are speaking to me personally. This is exactly what's been going on with me. I feel you very well, Guinness girl. With all my Pisces planets, it's definitely not very easy here for people who have a lot of Pisces energy and Virgo energy, of course. And hey, Hannah, my Belgian friend, is here as well. Yeah, a lot of people and love in the chat here tonight. Yeah, Jupiter. Millie says, "Oh, Jupiter used to rule Pisces. How expansive." Well, actually, yeah, it was before they found Neptune that actually Jupiter was the ruler of Pisces, but it still works. And sometimes I feel that it's, yeah, we really need to look at both. Like, for example, for Aries, and especially Scorpio, I meant Scorpio. For Scorpio, they have Mars back in the day. Now they have Pluto. But still, Mars is extremely important for Scorpio, and there are multiple things like that. So it's so beneficial for Pisces to have like Jupiter direct on the 10th of March, trining the whole Pisces stellium from their fifth house. I know, my dear Pisces, that things might feel a little bit confusing right now, but you're going to have a big resolution, and it's going to be handed to you by the mystical realms, by the gods. Jupiter is the gods, and Pisces is like the mystical realms and your higher self and your spirit guides. And it's like making a beautiful flow. It is a trine. It's just like gonna fall onto your lap. So if things feel a little bit unclear and unstable, and you feel like you're drunk without even touching a single like glass, and I do not recommend you doing that at all, and it's going to confuse you even more fully, so do not do it. But definitely there's going to be some kind of a switch happening for sure. So thank you guys all so much for all the love in the comments. And I because I can see there are still so many people here, I'm gonna draw another card to end this video before I say goodbye to all of you beautiful souls. And yeah, it is such a special energy here. We're in the eclipse portal still, so expect some major turnarounds for sure. So what does the audience need to hear for the lunar eclipse and the Pisces stellium? Oh my god, I said that is so beautiful. Okay. Atlantis, keep the big vision, stay in alignment as you grow. Like, weren't we talking about Atlantis before here, you guys? So, Jupiter stationing direct in the sign of Cancer. Cancer is like the home and where we've been living inside of. And Pisces is very mystical. Pisces is water, what's under the sea. Mercury is digging things up. That is why there was so much revelations around ancient Egypt during the same time last year. So with Jupiter going direct in the fifth house also for Pisces, it's like eh, reconnect to your home, reconnect to the things that bring you joy. And we're going to see so much more truth being revealed about these ancient civilizations, like advanced civilizations. That is actually very, very beautiful. So we all need to keep the big vision. Big vision is zooming out, that is Jupiter. And staying in alignment, that is Pisces. And as we grow, that is Jupiter. So we're seeing Jupiter turning back direct and trining this beautiful Pisces stellium. And it's all going to be going to go better than we expected. We need to rest, recuperate right now. In April, there will be more bombs going off for sure in our own personal life, within the world as well. But now we need to like fill our own cup, keep the vision. We need to just go through April, and then May is going to be a bit calmer. June is going to be okay. In July, we're going to see this crazy alignment of all the outer planets at 4 degrees. I think then we can definitely have more disclosure and revelations in regards to ancient Egypt and Atlantis and the pyramids, because on the 12th of August, we're having our first new moon solar eclipse in Leo. It's going to be at 20 degrees, Scorpio degree, and that will happen on August the 12th. And during the solar eclipse in Leo, there's going to be a lot of asteroids that are connected to Egypt that will be conjunct the solar eclipse. Like Osiris is conjunct to solar eclipse, Isis is conjunct to solar eclipse. So I'm happy. I'm like expecting a whole bunch of things to be released during this time. So yeah, keep the big vision. It's all a bit rumbly right now and a little bit wonky, but we need to stay in alignment as we grow. And we're definitely learning a whole bunch of what's going on right now and on who gets access to our energetic field and who we need to purge right now. So yeah, I am actually getting very, very happy about all of these things because I feel so connected to ancient Egypt, and I've been doing a lot of regression sessions about that. I have never traveled to it before. I really need to do that, but definitely exciting times ahead. And McGillen says, are we getting info of the pyramids of the coast of Cuba? Actually, I think we're going to see a lot more pyramids around the world being like revealed. Like a lot of them are hidden under the earth with like the whole mud flood and Tartaria. And we know that there are like a lot of things being hidden from us. And that is also the sign of Pisces. It deals with everything that is unseen, that is happening behind the scenes. Pluto is like what's underground, and Neptune, Saturn together are like dissolving a lot of the structures right now. And I think we're in for like massive awakening, and we can all feel it very strongly right now. And it's going to be very interesting to see all of the disclosure around like our ancient power sources that is actually connected to the solar eclipse and Aquarius that we just had. I think we're going to see massive revelations around free energy, like 0 point energy, anti-gravity technology, and all of that. It's going to be a very, very exciting year, honestly. So, and Guinness, thank you so much. I love that Astrid doesn't stay in the box of 1 hour video. Yeah, I'm having Jupiter in my third house. I'm having difficulties by staying under 1 hour, that's for sure. But if you have been following me on my own Astro channel, you definitely already know that. Yes, pyramids are the codes of the feminine. It's about the energy coded beneath the pyramids that is very important. Yes. And I want to know what is under the Sphinx, you guys. Like fire, fire, fire. Yes, definitely. So thank you guys also much for joining me. And I'm gonna quickly do, if this wants to add to the stage. I don't know what is happening today with adding things to the stage, but it's a Mercury retrograde, you guys. So thank you guys all so much for joining me here today. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe here at the Jean-Claude Beyond Mystic platform on YouTube, but also on Rumble, of course. And if you want to book a reading, you can definitely do that at beyondmystic.com or .net, excuse me. And you can use Beyond Mystic to save 10% off. I still have spots in April before the big Aries stellium is gonna like kick off. So be sure to get that in time. It's gonna be very helpful if you are a water sign. Then you might need a little bit more guidance with that, or an earth sign. I think the air and the fire signs are going to do a little bit better with that. Definitely. Do not forget to tune in with Max here tomorrow at Beyond Critical at the Beyond Mystic page for sure. So thank you guys all so much and for the very beautiful, loving comments here. I actually have a personal channel, and it's Astro Astrid. It is my YouTube channel. So thank you guys all so much for the sweet love here. And I will see you back soon for my weekly video here on Beyond Mystic. That's going to be Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern time. And I will be talking a little bit more about Mars in Pisces, and I'm gonna like decode the entire Pisces stellium even a little bit more deeper and look at the transits for the week ahead. So I wish you all a very beautiful Sunday. Let me know where you are watching this from, and I'm sending you all a lot of love, and I will see you back soon. Thank you guys all so much. Bye bye.